I should say this once we're live here.
Yep, and we actually are live. I decided to stop. I looked at the time and I was way too busy fucking trying to find this stupid beer. I probably spent like a solid probably an hour today looking for it. I went to the store and I go to talk to the guy. I'm like, hey, did you get this? He's like, yeah. He's like, we're getting off the truck. It'll be off in like 10, 15. Like, okay. I was like, I might as well do some Christmas shopping. I grabbed a cart, dude. I'm just like, this tequila, sure, I'll give this to my mom. Oh, this tequila, sure, my sister wants it. Fucking rack up like $250 in liquor, and getting ready to check out. And I tell the guy, I'm like, oh, so you guys got that? No, apparently they didn't get it in. So, and then another manager overheard. He's like, wait, you mean to tell me I had to call this guy back and tell him not to come? Those is a friggin' shit show. But way too much information. Anyways, I was trying to still find that beer and realize that it's 6:32. So, wasted another 2 minutes talking about beer. And here we are, guys. We're looking at week 2 of our Bankroll building here with for some bourbon. Turfway Park, race 4. We're about 8 minutes to post here. Chase is not with us. I forgot where he's at. He had plans with the wife.
Some kind of Christmas party with the wife or something like that.
Yeah. So we had actually originally last week, we're like, all right, what day can everyone do? And everyone agreed on Thursday. We're like, great. And so, of course, like on Monday or Tuesday, Chase is like, remember that Thursday thing? I thought it was on Friday. It's actually Thursday. So he did send me his he sent me his pics, and I'll find them somewhere. I think I got them on my phone.
But also earlier, what was it, yesterday? He thought that yesterday was Thursday, so he has problems with days of the week.
Yeah, he's probably in some kind of like not drunken, painkiller stupor probably still, with his Percocet or whatever he's on for his back surgery. But hopefully he doesn't win. I haven't looked at his plays yet. I probably should, but we got 7 minutes to post here. I got the post parade going. Yes. You guys got any plays here?
I have one. It's a little disappointing. It looks like the public's kind of keen in on the horse I was going to try to work a play in with. I like the 12 here, keyed on top. I think this horse will appreciate the slightly shorter distance here, cutting back to a sprint. So I was going to I was going to win bet him at 6-1. I was going to maybe try to work him into some doubles, but he's down to 5-2 right now, which is a little shorter than I really want to use him in for a double. So what I think I'm actually going to do is play an exacta, which I don't play many of, but or I don't hit many of is probably a better way to put that. And I'm going to play a 12 over the 4 exacta. I think the 4 might be the true speed of the race, but I don't think he's going to be able to hang on. I think I like the trainer switch, and I think that if the 4 can clear and put away the 3 to his immediate inside, that the 12 might get the right trip and overtake him late. His sprints have been playing toward speed pretty heavily lately, so hoping I can get a 12-4 exacta in. Will pays are fairly generous right now, sitting at about $60 for $2.
Yeah, I totally agree with Caleb here. I think I see the race very much the same way he does. I mean, if I could have gotten better value on this 4, it might be worth, if the horse had drifted up a little bit, it might have been worth a bit of a win bet. But, I tend to agree with Caleb. I think Keen on Top is the horse that you really want to have here. There's a chance I think that the 4 sort of hangs on and, fills out a try or a super. And then I think a little bit of 3, a little bit of 9, but I'm not going to play anything here. Again, I took the same approach last week. I was got more, I was looking to slam sequences and not sort of dabble in every race. So I will be just sitting here watching this one.
Apparently we're having some difficulties here. Apparently our audio is repeating, which I don't know how that's even. Oh, never mind. You had 2 windows open, didn't you? Sporting chances, you had 2 windows open. I swear to God, because you know what? It's like, yep, he had it playing in Discord and in the browser. Mother effer.
Oh, that's funny.
Dude, I'm like sitting here because And the funny thing is, he brings it up, and I've done that. Like, who knows how many times I'll check the stream, make sure it's working fine, and I have YouTube open somewhere in the background. So I'm like, oh crap, I got it open. No, this guy is driving me nuts over here. All right, yeah. So I've not looked at this race yet. I ended up getting slammed at work, and I did watch a little bit of the last race, and I was not a fan of the 10, who ended up winning pretty easily, and the two horses I was interested in finished second and third. So I'm curious to see uh, if maybe this. Well, it was a 10 horse that's the one that angle out a little bit at the end, so this outside bias might still be good, but probably not. Excuse me, not faring so much well for the deep closers. The 3 did close in a little bit, but I thought the 3 was actually probably one of the better horses in that race, so I'm not going to take too much away from that. So we got about 3 here. You guys are both playing exactas here. What were you playing, Mark? I missed it. I was trying to mess
I'm
with
not.
stuff here.
I'm not playing anything. I
playing
am.
anything.
I'm just watching this.
Well, unfortunately for me, I'm playing from behind here. So I'm wondering if I do the prudent thing and pass this race since I haven't looked, or
Someone's got to start the Bourbon Fund.
or if I try and make something happen with this $32 I got left here. Yeah, I think I want to say Chase is on this 12 too. I of course I think left my phone downstairs, so I'll have to look and
This
see.
12 is taking way too much money, though. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
he's
about
8 to 5.
right
That's
now.
terrible.
No, that's there's absolutely no value. I mean, if you could have gotten 3 to 1 or something, I could see it maybe taking a stab or playing around with it. But I mean, if you're a vertical player, yeah, sure, it's a horse you probably have to include in your verticals. But I would want to win money, and it's not a horse I would want to build around horizontally either. So it's just a race where I don't see a lot of value. And in this type of thing where I'm trying to bankroll build, I'm gonna sit here and just watch this one.
Yeah, Chase is actually Chase is taking the old safe route here. He's got a win place on the 12 here.
Yeah, 12's definitely taking the money. That exacta just dropped from 61 to 39. I'm gonna let it ride still. But if it drops much lower, I think I need at least, $35 out of this exacta for me to keep it. So we'll see what happens. What I am surprised is that this 3 is not really taking any money.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm looking at. I think I'm gonna play small win bet here, $4 here on the 3, try and get a little bit of value there. And then I'm gonna play an exacta also with this 3. And I'm gonna take a shot here with the 11, the other horse here. See if we get a little spice here, a little 20.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the daily double will pays, and the next race, somebody got a little drunk on a 12-12 daily double here. It looks like because that is just a stupidly short price into the next. That's looks like they're. I would imagine the 12 here is going to be very short when it goes off, and the 12 in the next will also be very short when it goes off. Similar price to probably what you're seeing here, 8 to 5 a short range.
Yep. So I got an $8 play here. I'm boxing this 11 and 3 for $2, and then play a straight win bet 3.
Yeah.
See if Crystal Conning can do anything here.
I'm gonna throw one more bet in. Like, I already have a 12-4 exacta, just straight up for $4. I played it back for $1 upside down in case it comes in 412.
I will say, Anonymous from Discord was talking about Sonny Leon not losing any races on the 10 horse. Right, losing on the 10 horse last race. 10 is 40 to 1. I'm sure he's got some money on it at this point.
Yeah, I'm throwing in one last minute daily double. 12 with the 10. I don't think the 10's the likeliest winner, or even close to it in the next race. But it's mostly just a pedigree play. I'm a sucker for violence horses. And this 12 is getting bet like he might be a sure thing. That daily double is paying huge, and if I can get 200 out of a $2 bet, then I'll take it. But Agreed. The plays I was otherwise looking at would have been a
Okay,
12-12 double, but you just can't play it for $20.
Yeah. Sporting
South
chances, not like in my
Locked
3
up.
here.
Indy Rhythm.
0 for 6. So,
Indy Rhythm and
It's a good point. I did
Jimenez.
notice that. That's
Heat
because
on
he looks
top,
good on figs
and
and
even
optics,
money
but the record on
up
synthetics
to
not
the
great.
outside.
Granted, that was all much tougher races than he's in here. I mean, those were open
Heat on
claimers
top for
at 15
the
or 18,000,
LCR stable and Page.
but still, he's got the inside to
Marks
deal
up
with.
and in. They're at the post.
Yeah, even money on the 12 now.
They are off. Awkward
Could have
start
sent in
for
this
Swamp
5.
Ruler. Clean start
Trying
for
to anyway.
Great Harbor Kai. From between horses, South Upper being hard hustle to get up, and after
See, I
the
think
Page,
there's
he's
a
raced
chance
up into
this
second. The
four
Grade
can
G19
break
off the
and
gate
get
in
loose
third.
here. I mean,
Multiple
I don't
stake
know
winner,
if
Mr.
Four-
Florida way
four's
in
got a
fourth
pretty
position.
easy
Stable
lead
makes
here.
three
Speed's
shots,
been
right
very
over the back runs
good
fifth.
on the
Jennings
sprints.
Regalman advances
Routes
to the
not so
inside
much,
six,
but in the
foiling for
sprint,
back
speed
double
has been
Derringer.
just lethal.
Swamp Ruler at that awkward beginning is
And 7 to
making
1's a square price
early
if you
middle
like
race
that
move
4.
up the backside. Then 4 lengths for the back, Kitten for Granny, still 3 back to Flat Out Fast, and 2 to
Yeah, it's hard
Saintsboro.
here.
And
There's a
Indy
lot
Rhythm
of
at the back of
that
the
12
pack. The
took a
quarter
lot of
clipped
late
out
money. And if
22.
I'd known I was going to get
And
7 to 1, I
3,
probably
Great
would have been
Harbor
on the
K shows the way with
Mhm.
Rodney Prescott. Is in front
He
by
was
just
4
about
to
4
1
as they continue
2
to
minutes
race
ago,
around
so.
the turn. It's Great Harbor K shows the way for Patrick Rhodes by 3.5 to the quarter pole. Keyed on top to the outside in second. Double Derringer launching a rally 3
Ooh,
wide.
the 11 going
Kitten for
9
Granny
wide.
about the 10 path as they straighten away, and it's all Great Harbor K shows the way by 4. Now Keyed on top has kicked it into top gear, and Keyed on top trying to get to pace setting Great Harbor K
Looks
by
like
the
12's gonna
16th
roll on
pole.
by.
Keyed on
Yep.
top is
Take
cruising
this
on
4
past
hold on.
and pushing
There we
on
go.
by to go
All right,
away
$4
by
exact.
about 4 in the end. Keyed on top, the favorite delivers. Great Arbor K was there, then came Double Derringer,
Yeah,
and
both
Indy
ways,
Rhythm
or did you
rallied
play that
from last
straight
to be fourth in 1-2.
I played it, I guess just for anyone, watching. I'm not a box exactas player, but I'm not going to not play it upside down if I think the prices are right or if I think one horse is a lock. So I had it for $4, 12 over 4, and I just played it for $1 back with the 4 over 12.
Yeah, I figured you structured it somewhat like that.
So I'm not going to weight them equally, but I probably, in an instance like that, where the 4 horse was 7 to 1 and not like a 5 to 2 with a 3 to 1, I'll play it upside down for a much less bet. Wow, I should have thrown the 6 in underneath. Look at those prices.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna be what, $41 for $2?
Let's see here. 12-4. 41 for 2. I had it for 4. Yeah, so that'll be $42. Or I'm sorry, $82 coming back.
Oh, still doesn't leapfrog you over?
No, I'm still not over mark because but I'm if my 10 comes in here, I'll be sitting pretty.
I figured I'd get some better smack out of it than that. Come on, out though.
Well, I gotta wait till I get up over top of you first.
He's gonna wait for the bourbon to kick in till. So
Yeah,
he's still. I don't know where you got this idea that we were talking a lot of smack about you when you weren't around last.
Maybe watch the video.
Yeah, I watched the video, so I will say though that Chase having to get a drink because I hit that double was the highlight of my That was pretty awesome.
So I'm watching YouTube chat. So if you guys got any comments or anything, toss them in there. Caleb and Mark, you guys just keep an eye on Discord in case you get any comments in there. I know sometimes we get people talking in Discord, and unfortunately I'm projecting the video from Discord, so I'm not really able to see. 6421 did just ask me if I have any comments about AP, the news that came out. Apparently the Horsemen still do not have a deal with Arlington Park, so there is still a chance they don't run next year. Apparently, it looks like they're trying to lowball. They're like a solid $500,000 or $600,000 a day in purses, like off. Or I don't know if it's a day, but there's a pretty significant difference. There's like a 33% difference in what's being offered and what the Horsemen, which is comparable to what Minnesota and Indiana do. Unfortunately, They are all, they all have the slots. Where Arlington has refused to install the slot machine because they don't think they're deal. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hawthorne's not going to run in the spring because they're going to be putting in their casino. So there is a good chance that there's a good chance we don't have any racing in Illinois until the fall. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think the head of the Illinois Thoroughbred Association thinks it's about 50-50 if they run next year at this point. Just crazy to think. You get your balance there yet?
I did. I'm up to 170, 140.
Oh wow!
What are you at, Peck? You're like 190.
177, right on the dot.
Damn, 60 cents. I got to show bet somebody here.
I think Chase hit the win place. I'm gonna go grab my phone right now after I see this, but he hit the win place for, I believe, $5. So he got a little bit of scratch back. It was paying $7 for 4.
Should be 1750 would have gotten back.
Yeah, so he's I think he's up to like $65-$70 somewhere around there.
Back in the black.
Just me down here. I thought $24. You know, I'm one exacta strike away from catching up to you. So
knowing how you play, you're one exacta strike away from cashing out.
Yeah. Over 46 maidens coming up.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
dude, that
46 maidens.
That try paid pretty hefty there, huh?
Dude, that's super paid thick. 1,600. And it wouldn't have been that hard for 10 cents. It wouldn't have been that hard to do a 12-4 all honestly. But I mean, the 6 I could have had. The 8 would have been hard for me.
Yeah,
but
that try paid $250. So yeah, I mean, it's these big fields, man. You get solid payouts with those vertical bets. So
wow, that was a 50-cent try paid $250. And quite honestly, that was Caleb's exacta with the all button on the third leg. I mean, that's
well, this next race coming up, got a mile here. 2-year-old fillies, so this is prime for chaos. See what we got here. You passing this race too? You passing this race too, Mark, or are you?
No. I'll probably have a double play in here, just a small one, but I'm waiting for double payouts to come up before I figure out how I'm going to structure it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I thought this was a race you could probably find a price in. I mean, the 12 makes sense as a horse to probably use, but I feel like he's going to be too short for like a win bet purpose. Maybe work him into a double or a vertical, depending what he looks like he might pay. I mean, I'm going to take a stand against this one. I don't think Martin Garcia really gets this track bias. Plus, the horse has the rail. So I'm not using the one anywhere. I'm unsure if I'll have a play in this race or not. I might have to look at the tote and see what some of the will pays are.
But you're live to what, the 10 here?
I'm live to the 10 and a double. Like I said, the 10, I just liked the pedigree off that. I mean, Dam has 10 winners out of 11 starters, including 2 stakes winners. You know, half those horses won at 2 years old. You know, Violence gets 21% debut winners, is a pretty good all-weather sire. You know, the Dam Bright Magic was actually a winner on synthetic. You know, the jockey trainer connections are a little bit tough to swallow statistically, but last couple of works have been consistent, if not spectacular. He has an outside draw, which I like. And, at a huge price, paired with an even money horse in the last race, I thought this horse made some sense to play a double, since I didn't feel good enough in the 12 or the 9 to use in a double, which are the other 2 horses I liked in this spot.
Yeah, I'll talk this one into the winner's circle for you, but I mean, I have a really hard time getting behind a horse that's got a 4% trainer who's 7% maybe special weights, and he's 0% with first timers. So I mean, I understand the pedigrees there on the Dam side. The Dam's been a very solid producer, but you'd have to really get a solid price here for me to get behind the 10. and it's a lot more than the morning line for me at least.
I don't know, man. 21% first time, and it looks like the dam's been pretty. Has been at least somewhat productive. So
I knew Josh would be out behind this horse.
yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I'm looking down. I'm looking down at the. I like to look at those SPI DPI ratings, and
Yeah, look
I'm
at that big
seeing
2.6.
I see that 2.6 there. Interested in the 6 a little bit too. Second time out. Ran a pretty good. Ran a pretty decent like speed fig at least. Came in second. In a route at Churchill, so he's probably getting a little bit of class relief here. But I don't know. There's a lot of Churchill Keeneland shippers here. This is these races have been turning up pretty good. Especially as of late. I felt like the first week we saw a lot of like Indiana shippers, and I mean nothing wrong with Indiana, but like when you're getting maiden shipping in from Indiana 2-year-olds versus coming from Churchill and Keeneland, there's usually at least a level of quality difference there between them. Even Ellis Park. Yeah, I don't know. I always like to see a horse that runs pretty well first time out. Coming back for their second race, usually you see a little bit of improvement. I think that sometimes the second time starters will get overlooked over somebody like the one who has raced 4 times and has put up the best speed figure at least on Briz of any of the horses in this race. But Briz seems to like the 6 quite a bit. Even has got the highest prime power here. But yeah, I just like that second time out angle. The trainer is about, it's 11% second time out, so nothing great, but is pretty much even money. So 0% Roy, but beating the takeout second career race. So be interesting. Joe Rocco looks like he's had a pretty good start to the meet too. So I think the 6 makes a lot of sense, especially at this price. This one at 5-2, I want nothing to do with. Like Ken McPeak stats on this look good, but the rails just pretty much.
Yeah, if I want a Kenny McPeak horse, I want the 9 for sure.
Yeah, I mean the play I'm debating here is a little bit of a spready double, doing something like 5, 6, 8, 9 over 4, 8 for $2, and then doing a 12 over 4, 8 for maybe $4 or $5. Just kind of give us a few more minutes to see how the doubles settle out. Not more than likely it's not going to pay out massive, but it puts me in a position where I have pretty good coverage on this race, which I do think is a spreadier type of race.
Yeah, and it looks like the 6 is taking a little bit more money, which I think is going to drop down to a price. I think is going to be. I probably expect to see about 3-6, to be honest.
You're probably right. I hate the pedigree on the 6. I don't want Union Rags or Miss Derrick Offspring or Brother Derrick on the synthetic. But the horse ran a good race. It was off the turf, so I mean, maybe they had turf in mind the whole time. Generally, that'll translate decently to synthetic. I don't know. I mean, I don't like. I need a. It's a horse that could beat me, and I'd be like, yeah, that's totally makes sense. But also a horse I have a hard time getting behind at like 3-1. So I probably won't have much action in this race at all. But if I did, that's a horse that would give me a hard time.
Yeah, the one in here I thought was pretty interesting was the 5. I realized, pedigree is not the most synthetic pedigree ever, but paid quite a bit for her as in the Keeneland November sale. Torme's got some success with Dan Kabisky, and I think it's Kobisky. I think is how you properly pronounce it. But and he's a very good maiden second out trainer. So yeah, that's kind of one that I thought was a little bit interesting.
Now, Virginia Torme, the one who won the Oscar for Best Supporting, my cousin Vinny.
Sure.
That joke just did not land whatsoever. I believe that's isn't it like Melissa Torme or something?
I think we just lost 2 viewers.
Yeah, I think we did too. Yeah. Someone made a My Cousin Vinny joke. Oh, I was listening to the Jason Bean podcast today because he had jury duty, and so he was talking about My Cousin Vinny. Oh, I think that's why I had that fresh in my mind.
Anonymous in the Discord is with you on that 6. I think 6 is the real deal. She's a deal.
She's
and
a
he also
deal.
likes the 12, which I think we all kind of like a little bit.
Yeah, the only horse in here that might fly a little under the radar, and I don't really know if it should, but I like it, is the 8 horse here, Enthroned. At 6-1, I wasn't super interested, but now that I'm seeing this float up a little bit here at 14-1, and a small sample size, viewing is he's a 38% turf to all weather. I think he's probably like 3 for 8 or something, so it's not like a huge number, but I mean he's pretty much straight turning a profit, pretty much all stats here. So it's got Malcolm Franklin, who is generally one of the better Turfway riders. Hasn't had the greatest start, but I mean this horse is out of Empire Maker, so it's got a decent pedigree for this type of race here. So. And like I said, at 14-1, I mean, I think this would be worth taking a look at too. But yeah, I mean, I think the 6, at least in my mind, makes the most sense here. I would happily take 9-2, but there's no way we get 9-2 on this horse. And yeah, I think the 12 is the favorite, but I'm not super into him, or into her, excuse me, Mark. But I saw you making a case already. But it's got Giants Causeway, from the Dam Sire, or sorry, the Grandsire. And Giants Causeway is generally one of the best all-weather sires here. Not too sure about how Carpe Diem's progeny have done on the all-weather, but Giants Causeway is usually always a plus.
Yeah. What I will say is I kind of agree with your 8. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna have any action here just because I have no strong opinions. I think the 8 and the 9 are the 2 horses at anything over, 10-1 on the 8 and maybe 8-1 on the 9. I think are good bets. I think the 1, the 12, in the 6 might get bet a little heavy for me. So I think the 8 and 9 are the 2 horses that could surprise. And I'm swear I'm not like a pedigree goon, but Empire Maker has had a lot of luck lately, like this meet, with some all-weather winners here at Turfway. Him and Majestic Perfection both have had some winners recently, so it probably bears watching and just keeping in mind. And Malcolm knows this track, so.
Yeah, I did end up firing that double play I had mentioned. I put it up into the Midwest channel on Discord. But yeah, trying to get the 5, 6, 8, or 9 over the 4, 8, and then a little heavier to the 12 over the 4, 8, just because of the wheel pace. That 12 over 4 and 8 is taking quite a bit of money. So
I'm looking at Chase's bet. Chase is on the 9 here. So he agrees with you here. He's got the 9. He's just got, once again, he's just got a little win place bet. I think Chase is probably being a little bit more cautious because I don't think he wanted to get like too far behind not being here. But it's a $3 win place bet in the 9. So that comes in. He's gonna be sad he didn't try to play a double out of those 2.
yeah, I know Chase and I were both talking, earlier today, and thinking that both of these maiden races, this one and the last one on the card, both had a lot of chance for some calamity. And yeah, I mean, I think that 8 in here makes a lot of sense. Nothing wrong with Empire Maker. They paid quite a bit for the horse as well, so obviously good intentions were there. Yeah, I think there's a couple other places you could go in here. I think if you find a horse you're seeing value. There's nothing wrong with doing a little fishing in a race like this, where up and coming, improving horses, and I think the pace setup, the pace setup in these tend to be a little wonky at best. another thing I'll say this is it a mile and it's a two-turn mile. Most of these horses that do have some form have not actually gone a mile, so a little bit of extra distance also makes it a little interesting.
Yeah, I could fish in this race because there are, like I said, a couple horses I sort of like at a price. But my bigger issue is I'm not a guy that wants to play a 3x3, kind of exacta, box, or a 2/4, 2/5 kind of, real boxy, spready exacta. I don't typically like playing that way, especially in a race I don't have a ton of opinion on. If I had a strong opinion in the next race, I probably would fire a double, maybe like a 3x1 or 4x1 double. But I don't like the next race. I mean, I think that the three logical horses are the three most likely winners. There's something about each of them that I sort of don't like, so I have a hard time separating them between the 4 horse, the 5 horse, and the 8 horse. So I'm not going to play a double where I'm using 3 horses inside of 5-2 in the second leg. Just as I guess as a little more background as to wagering strategy and some thought process. If I could feel confident in one of those three, I'd probably go deep here fishing for a price, and then just play it to the 1 horse in the next race, or even the 2 horses in the next race that I liked. But I really have a hard time getting a handle on that next race, so I'm probably just going to sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean, how I kind of looked at this, I know we originally were talking about doing some sort of a 50 to 1,000 kind of a game. I knew you guys would be a little bit more wanting a little more action per se, so I tended to be a little more focused. The ticket I have in here is for me very, very, very spready. That's not how you build things, but I think there's definitely some compelling value if you can get outside of this 12. If the 12 doesn't win this, I think, well, I shouldn't say I think. I know that the doubles will pay quite nicely into the next leg. And I thought I had a decent handle on the next race. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we get by this 12. And, I mean, honestly, I'm trying to think of what I have, the 5. Yeah, 5 or 5 8, 5 9. 9 would be fine as well. I mean, there's definitely some potential there.
Just curious on your bet structure then, Mark. You posted a 12 with the 6-8 double, and then a 5-6-8-9 with the 4-8. Why no 12-4? Just value too short for you, or what?
Nope, I think I clicked the wrong button. Let me just double check what I posted.
That's
Yep,
hilarious.
I did it, dude, twice in a row. I did that yesterday too.
If you win, I expect a 2% commission.
That's so funny. I am not. I'm having a hard time trying to construct anything vertically here, just because there's I don't know. I don't think there's not a super clear pace structure here. At least not to me. So I'm actually going to also play doubles. I'm going to go with the 6, the 8, and the 12 here in this race. And I'm only going to use the 6 and the 8 in the next race. And I'm going to do double to the 6 and the 12 in this. I got the 8 to the 6-8 one time, and I got the 6 and the 12 to the 6-8. And that should pay, between like 50 and a lot more, depending on if the 8.
Yeah, I will say you can tell all of us we sort of set aside an ADW that we're not used to play around with us, and you can definitely tell that the thank you Caleb for catching that, because just one thing I'm just not used to this format. I'm using Twin Spires, which is not an ADW I ever use, and that was just a get used to their interface kind of.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've bet the 5 horse, when I meant to bet the 3 horse, because the 5 horse was 3-1 in the morning line, is just astronomical.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, I guess we could talk briefly, since we got a little time while this is we still got 4 minutes. We can talk ADWs kind of briefly, since I know we're all kind of using stuff that we don't use, mostly just so we can keep the money separate and not, especially for me, I don't get tempted on something. But yeah, I mean, like Twin Spires is fine. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like if you get used to it, it'll make sense. A couple of things that their app does, it's kind of wonky, excuse me, it saves like your last bet. So there was I forgot if it was Australia or it was something, but I wanted to bet a double, and I go ahead and I set the double, and it was like for like $4. No, it wasn't Australia because Australia's not a double, but either way, I wanted to bet a double, put the bet in, and win the first leg. Nice. And so I look at my account, and all of a sudden there's $200 in my account. Why do I have $200 in my account? Like I just played a double. I bet a fucking exacta on accident with like a $4 exacta on accident with the two horses obviously in the first leg on top and the two horses in the back leg on the bottom. So I was just like, what in the world happened? So yeah, I ended up hitting a $200 exact on accident because the Twin Spires app saves your last bet type. So
there you go. Sometimes you can look into this.
Yeah, I used when I first got into doing stuff online. I was on Twin Spires, and that was the old Twin Spires with the old classic interface, which I did like. It was very simple, nothing fancy, but it worked well. I've moved to other shops due to rewards and things being better. I mean, so this is the first time I've used their platform in probably 5 years. I mean, obviously, I have an account; I can use it if I ever need it for anything. But it's just not one I'm really comfortable with. If you want to get to ADWs, we can go into that conversation too. But yeah, I'm not a big Twin Spires user.
yeah, and I'm pretty much mostly all Naira bets at this point, just because that's the one place that gives me a rebate that's worth anything at my low volume through Thoroughgraphs, and then Winspires and TVG I'll play on depending on if there's any kind of like bonuses or anything like that. I'll hop on there. Twin Spires used to be my ADW of choice. They actually they had a couple of promotions over the summer where they were giving a rebate if you played, I think it was Arlington, Belmont, or Churchill. And I'm like, oh, so pretty much the 3 tracks I play. Beautiful. So I played on there quite a bit over the summer, but yeah, just when I'm not getting a bonus from them, Naira just has a better feed, at least in my opinion, and they have they pay out rebate to me, holding in the gate here.
Yeah, just real quickly, most of my volume these days is through AM Wager, but that's because of the rebate structure that they offer, and also the fact that they've recently moved over to having
And
an
the
ABC,
Phillies have reached the starting gate. It's post time for the Northern Kentucky
really
Labor
nice
Council
little,
race.
standalone app that floats on your computer. You can ABC your plays right out, structure ticket size.
2-1 on
and
Dennis
being somebody
Farkas's
who's primarily horizontal,
Unforeseen.
plays a lot of ABCs. It
3-1
works really
on
well for me,
She's a
and I'm getting
Deal.
rebates through it too. There's a
Second
service
on debut.
called NH
Bursting
Play,
in air.
which is a player services group
Well-bred
that
firster.
helps with the wager.
Weighing in
helps with the
34-1.
rebate structure.
Pantarita.
Real
Locked
quick,
away.
I tossed a quick win place bet on this
Neva
8 at
at
these
34 to
odds.
1
It keeps on
coming
floating
forward.
up. I gotta
3
take a
remain
shot
to
there.
load.
Yeah, I think that makes
Elizabeth
sense.
T.
I'm going
That's a
to
very
sit
smart
tight. I'm going to
14
sit
to
tight.
1.
But there are moments when the odds dictate the bet more so than
And now the
how
two
strong your
favorites,
opinion
She's
is.
a
And I
Deal.
think, I said anything north of 10 to 1 is
That's
good value
Velocity
on this.
stable.
You're getting 15
Second
or
on
16
debut
to
goes
1.
in.
So.
Unforeseen to the outside for Farkas and Wilkes.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's
I think 8 and 9 are both good values at the price.
If this one
They're at the
wins this
post.
race, I may just like not bet the race.
I'll be
All
pretty
set.
surprised if this one wins, which means I just talked him into the winner's circle.
Yeah, I've
They
just the
are
exact same thing about that one.
racing
Who's getting sent.
in the Northern Kentucky Labor Council race. And Miss Important caught a
Sent
flyer.
and
She
getting off the rail.
is offensive
Yeah, he really
minded,
did. Nor
taking
Garcia
to
took
the
him off the
clubhouse
rail
turn
there. That's
by a half a
interesting.
length.
Put him
Miss
right-
He was
is
not
away
doing
in
that
second
for the
position,
first
caught
2 weeks
3
of the
wide
meet.
as they head into the turn. It's Prosser's Kitten on debut. Down on the inside, Pantarita is away in the 4th position from between horses enthroned. Off the gate in 5th, shaded up to the outside by Neva as they head around the opening turn. Unforeseen is racing mid-flight about 7 off the pace. Towards
There's
her
no
inside
way
is
Bird
River
can
Cane.
steal this in
Then
front
3
of
lengths
her,
for the back to She's a Deal, bursting in air. And then about 6 or 7
Well,
back
the
to
2
Elizabeth
looks
T.
super
Way out of it
keen,
is
and
Cool
he's just
Celeste,
got
the
a
first
strangle.
quarter.
Yeah, he just needs to let that 2
And
go at
3
this
fifths
point.
seconds up the backside they go. And it's Miss Important shows the way. Confronted to the outside by Miss Is Zippy. Down on the inside, it's Panterita as they head up the backside. They
49
pass the
and
half-mile
1.
pole.
That's pretty
Half
quick
mile
for
up on the board, 49
some of these
and 1/5
on
second.
this track.
It's
Yeah,
Miss
at
Important
this
into the
level,
far
this
turn. She's built a
probably
2-length
comes
lead.
back, but
Miss Is Zippy
Yeah,
still
I'm
racing to the
thinking
outside. Now they're
9
screwing at
looks
the
like
fifth.
he has some
Panterita
horse,
trying
but
to
he's been
squeeze
stuck
on
inside
through
most of
from
the
third.
race.
4 lengths for the back.
yeah,
River
let's see,
Cane
11
is trying to
or
stoke up a rally, starts to close in on those leaders.
Shit, the 2
Meanwhile,
might still be
corner in
able to get
wide,
him.
it is Neva. And down along the inside of Prosser's Kitten as they continue to race around the turn. It's Miss Important still there. Mrs. Zippy up to the outside. 3 lengths for the back. Panterita, 3/4, 114 and 4. And they turn on down for the money. And Miss Important, the one to catch. Miss
One's
Important
gone.
with a furlong to go is a
Yep.
2-length
Josh
lead.
again tonight.
Whip comes out on Mrs. Zippy
Talked
as they're
him right
in
into
the
the winner's
final
circle.
4 and
Yeah,
furlong.
Jesus.
And Miss Important, the daughter of Great R, is accelerating
That's
and
an interesting. I mean,
opening
those
up with
horses
a
were
quick
1, 2,
turn of foot through the stretch. But
finished
Martine
1, 2,
Garcia can
3.
put the brakes on as
Even
she's
4, 1,
well
2, 3,
clear
4
by
at the count of
6.
9.
Mississippi was second, Panterita third,
Nobody really
and
picked up
River
their
Cane
feet.
checked
It's,
in fourth.
Interesting.
You might want to upgrade speed. I mean, speed's been really good in the sprints anyway, but that's not been the case in the routes. So
I can tell you that Optics did not have the 1 as a speed horse. They had that as a square, actually a pretty good sized square. But that's not my type of horse. Horse is that many time maiden.
yeah, I mean, the horse has 1 good race where he was just off the lead and ran okay, and then 3 pretty terrible races. I mean, obviously this is an easier bunch, new surface and whatnot, but that's a tough horse for me to have at 3-1. You know, I'm okay with not having that horse. That's just the kind I'll probably let beat me, especially with Garcia, who's been riding pretty bad given the quality of mounts he's been getting. So that's the first time I've seen him make a conscious effort to get a horse off the rail from the 1 hole. That was actually a really good ride. So I have to give the credit where it's due. You know, he's another one that's worth watching. And if that's, you know, the kind of rides he's going to be giving, then he might upgrade a few horses later on.
Yeah, it's one of those races where that was that entire structure. I had that double out. I had no opinions. I shouldn't have played it. So, and Caleb is currently in the lead.
All is right in the world. Well, I think I'm down to like $10 at this point. So
You may as well just send it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send it. Oh, I did not want to open up Steam. What the?
I don't know if anybody noticed if they looked at my my bet sheet from last week's stream, but I hit a $96 daily double, and my final balance was $97. I was down to my last dollar when I fired that, but I didn't want to go broke, so I left $1 in there for good luck.
That's tough. It didn't seem like I mean the 12. I mean it was all inside horses.
Yeah, I mean 1-2. How often do you see that at Turfway?
Well, it wasn't a mile. The inside has been better at a mile than it has been in the sprints. But
I was gonna say, dude, Papa would probably losing his mind right now. He like lost a mortgage payment there with how much he avoids the inside.
Yeah, I guarantee he didn't have that one.
Hopefully he was smart, didn't play, unlike the rest.
Yeah,
like me.
he's not one to usually play races that have a lot of first timers, so he may have just passed that race, honestly. It's very different than last night. There was one rail winner last night. It was the 2 horse, but the 1 scratched. But the horse got off the rail to win yesterday. You know, the 1 got off the rail a little bit here, but still, I'm kind of surprised that he was able to.
Yeah, I mean, he
win
didn't
quite that easy.
He was still like in like the 2-3 path. It wasn't like he was like really off the rail. I mean, it was just.
Yeah, and the thing I think that sometimes I don't pay enough attention to is the majority of Turfway's races are $5,000 claiming N2Xs or, you know, $10,000 no winners of 3 lifetime kind of races. You know, but when you get, these better races, and I know these are maidens, but these are maiden special weight horses that have been running, in Keeneland and for 70,000 or Churchill for 95,000. These are better horses, and oftentimes better horses can beat the bias compared to lesser $5,000 claimer horses that just can't overcome that bias. So, this is a Ken McPeak horse. With Martin Garcia used to be a good rider out in California. He's been running against better. He may have just really been that much the best against a lot of the local contingent, of first-time starters and horses who haven't shown a ton of ability. So I'm not going to jump off my theory yet that the inside's not great. That horse may have just been that much the best, kind of similar to the 2 horse in the second race.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at the pick 5, it's all big numbers, except for the 2 and the 1. But it could just been the best horse.
Yeah, and anybody who's interested, I just put up my pick 3, which is my main play of the day for the last 3 legs. So it's up in the Midwest channel.
Hammering it for
$50 ice cold.
Yeah.
1 by 1 by 1. Mark's got the 4-8 with the 5-6. In case anyone's not in the Discord, I'm going to read it out loud. Or let Mark, you can read it out loud. It's your play.
Yeah, I have the 4-8 in the next leg, a little bit of the 5-6. They're both Bs. The 4 and the 8 are As. 7th leg, I have the 7th race, I have the 3 and the 6, and the 7 and 9 as Cs. And in the 8th race, I have 4, 14, and then the 3 as a B. With a $2.50 A, and it tapers down to a $1 2B and a C, a $50 total play for that.
Oh, dude, I was actually right about the $50 pick 3. I was joking.
I think, I think you're very likely to get through the first 2 legs. We have a difference of preference in the last race, so I'm not going to tell you what that is until we get there.
No, man, that's fine. That's what makes for odds. So.
That's right. So why don't we talk about this next race? Like I already said, I have a hard time, really distinguishing between the 4, the 5, and the 8 because they all look good to me. This 4 horse has a lot of speed, which has been really good in these sprints. It's definitely going to be your leader, and probably could steal it. The horse, won a probably an arguably better race than this last time. But we know that the sprints have been favoring speed pretty heavily, and this horse wheels back on, just over a week of rest. I just wasn't sure. That horse would probably be my top pick in this race. But I just wasn't really sure how short a price I wanted to take on it. The 8's the other one that is going to show speed, but has never tried synthetic. The one time it tried turf was a pretty terrible effort. So that's one, I have no idea who this trainer is, Emma Leister. So it's another one who could romp or could totally miss the board, and I wasn't really sure which. And then the 5 is one, I was kind of hated on Martin Garcia, but that was a pretty good ride. But I don't want dead closers in these sprints. This horse has been a closer most of his career and all of a sudden showed speed last time and won. So I wasn't really sure which version of the 5 you're going to get. And even the 6, I see you have that as a B, is a horse I could make an argument for. Just in the event that the 4 and the 8 hook up on the front, the 6 could be the other one who may benefit, if that would happen. The horse likes Turfway. But I don't want to go 4 deep in this race and use the top 4 betting choices in a 8 horse field. So I'm probably going to pass on this particular race as well. But the 4 is probably the horse I'm most interested in.
Interesting. I think Emma Leister might be a trainer from New Zealand. Oh, that's interesting. I heard you say the name. I was like, dude, I heard of and so I was like,
Mark,
I was thinking,
Emma Leister is, connections a little more than we do most of the time.
She is not one I know. Emma Leister, I do not know her. My guess is that she was somebody's understudy, but I'm not aware.
It looks like this is her first mount, or that she's sending out for 2019. Maybe she's just getting her own stable. this horse was in the Brian Lynch barn, which is a pretty good Kentucky barn. So yeah, it's a tough one. There's not a ton of information to go off. Could see this one unfolding a number of different ways, and just a tough race for me to get a feel. So it's one that I decided to probably back off a little bit.
Apparently she's had horses, but hasn't had a starter since 2015. It's 5 starts, 1 first, 1 second, 1 third.
That's respectable.
So,
for a small sample.
Yeah, I would assume that. If you win one of your first 5 starts and place and show, and an additional one each, you're either getting at least decent horses or you know what you're doing. So, yeah, and it looks like she's got 2 entries. She's got one today, one tomorrow. Declan Cannon's riding both of them.
I wouldn't say Declan Cannon's necessarily a good jockey, but or even an okay jockey. But for Turfway, against this bunch, he's not bad. So for him to get up for a trainer that hasn't had a mount in a couple of years, I would think that that jockey agent probably has an idea that she typically has some half decent mounts. And looking at the form, this last year was pretty good.
Is that like when you go? Is that like when you go to the bar, like you're on like this dive bar? See, it's like Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light. Oh, they got Coors Banquet though. That's not bad. That's not bad.
That's actually exactly what that's like. But
I was gonna say Blue Moon, but I thought Blue Moon might be too good to be Declan Cannon.
Yeah, I don't think he's more of a banquet beer kind of. I'm in Pennsylvania, so I can probably. He's more of like maybe like a Yingling. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not as good as Yingling is, though. No.
People outside of Pennsylvania like Yingling way more than people inside of Pennsylvania.
So funny story. They started distributing Yingling to Indiana, and the casino that we go to normally is in Indiana. The Horseshoe, just over the border. So we go, and I have a friend. Like every time we go, she's like, "They got Yingling. Like I got to get that." And like she's like was telling me the story, about like how great of a beer this is. It's fine, like nothing crazy. But she was just like, "Oh, you can't get this in Illinois." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "You can't get it in Illinois. It doesn't make it any better. It's just a fucking another beer." Like, Sporting Chances says there's a trainer around Turfway named Steven. Like they did.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that.
I also did not know that. But I will tell you a Yingling story. At Bromley, we're instruct if we need one of the groomers to build a jump or like fix a feature for us overnight, you bring them a 12-pack of Yingling, tell them what you want, it's done the next morning. Just throw random Yingling stories out there.
Apparently he's hitting at 22% this year, so. Yeah, as everyone starts typing, it's like,
yeah, I'm like, who is this? I have to know.
Oh, his last race was at Turfway Park named Bourbon Girl. Won yesterday. Race 6, won race 6 yesterday. It's 7-1. 10 horse. Race 6, November 18th.
The horrible thing is the more I listen to Caleb, the less confident in my own picks that I am. So now I'm sitting here completely like second guessing everything.
That's why this is great. That's why this entire exercise is just so great for you.
Well, tell me, you had, I think, what was it, 4-8 as A's and then 5-6 as B's. I think we're all fairly in agreement that those are the 4 horses that you probably want in this race.
Agreed.
Why 4-8 over 5-6? I agree with you probably, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts were the fact that in this type of race, I want horses going to be a little more forwardly placed and a little more closing ability. It seems like that, and I think we're all using optics these days, or most of Discord is using optics at this point. Optics had those both as horses that have a little more closing velocity, and it can be the factor velocity is a little higher as well. Seems to be those sort of quadrant one horses, and those are the ones that seem to be doing well in these types of races. So I think the 5 to me, especially on surf distance, is a little bit more of a speed horse and probably is going to be a little bit, a little bit behind, a little bit off pace more. I don't like speed types doing that. And I think the 6 might just not be fast enough, at least on optics. So that's kind of how I had it read. Yeah, but I think you could make arguments here otherwise.
I mean, I'm a simple man. I see big squares near the middle of the plot, and I'm all in.
Dude, you see big squares and you cannot lie.
You know? I like yeah. I mean I like the 6 and the 8. I actually think I prefer the 8 over the 6. Not just from optics. I am taking a look in the Briz here, and the 8's a little bit slower out of the gate, but I think is a little bit faster on the back end. So I think that the 8 will probably sit a little bit better, but the way Speed's been playing, I mean, the 4 could just run away with it. The 5 has also shown a little bit of speed, even though the 5 is showing up as a S horse on Briz. It looks like the speed figures actually have this horse liking to be pretty forwardly placed. So if you look at their last race at CD, I know it's a turf race, but those pace figures that horse put up are really, really respectable and would run over this field. So the 4 also put up similar. Actually, the 4 actually put up similar pace figures last time out, but the 5 came home a fair bit better. So yeah, it's interesting. I still think I like the 8 the most here, though.
Yeah, the one horse I do think is getting completely ignored that I don't hate is actually this 2, Picante Caliente. I should let Josh take that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think we've already covered the logical kind of to death with the 4, 5, 6, 8, but I think the 2, he's not a speed horse, but he's not a dead closer. This horse was running some fairly competitive numbers back in December and January. He was never beating Busy Mischief, the 4 horse, all that often, but he did beat the 6 in one of his races when he ran his career best effort back on December 27th. And then it looks like maybe something went wrong with the horse. I'm not really sure, but missed 10 months, came back in Indiana Grand on the turf, and horse has never particularly loved the turf that much. Didn't run a great race, maybe needed that one. Then comes back in 2 more months on December and, kind of botches the break a little bit, swings wide and picks up the pieces for 4th. I don't know if this is a horse that I truly think can win, but this is a race where, like I said, I don't have much of an opinion. I'm not going to play vertically in this, because I would rather, let me take that back. I'm not going to play horizontally because I'm 6-8 with anything at this point. But this could be, where you try to key this 2 underneath in the vertical for a couple dollars and hope that, one of your 4, 5, 6, or 8 can win and the 2 can sneak up for second or maybe clunk up for third in the trifecta. He'll pay a lot less than third if 2 of the logicals come first and second. But that's the price horse that if I was going to play this race vertically, I'd probably try to build around. Because you're going to get paid boxing a 4, 5, 8 exacta or a 4, 5, 6, 8 try.
I'm looking at this, trying to figure out how I'm going to get anything out of this 6 or 8 outside of just a straight win. Not really see. This 5 is actually paying pretty short everywhere, pretty much even with the 4. So the 5 actually might, if the 5 stays at like 5 to 2 or better, might end up being the value. I don't really. I don't know. I still think the 4 is probably likely.
So what's interesting is looking at some of the daily double well pays. It's always, I don't bet doubles until I kind of coming in at. I think most people do. The 7, the next race, Toma Toto is taking a lot of money. That's a horse that ran a really nice maiden race in his debut out of English channel. So obviously should love the synthetic. Looks like this horse beat Peace Achieved, who was pretty highly regarded actually, and I think that horse ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. I don't think he ran much, but I mean he is a good horse, and the 7 beat this horse. I don't love maidens against first time against winners, and I don't love horses coming off very long layoffs like that. So I haven't decided how I would play that. But the thing is, the fact that 7 takes so much money is that it is making a horse that I really like in the next race float up quite a bit in price, which is the 3. I'm not sold on the 6 horse, the Wesley Ward, and the 7 horse might need one off the break. Also, facing winners the first time is never exactly easy. I think this 3 could get a little bit bold on the front if he can get out and get off the rail and then clear off the 6. And you're getting a pretty good price on this 3, especially with the 4 and the 5 scratching. That knocks out 2 of the other speed horses, which is excellent for this 3 horse. He really only has to contend with the 6 on the lead, which I think there's a good chance he can actually outbreak the 6 and make the front. So as much as I don't really like this race in terms of, I think it's pretty flat, I'm getting enough value on my 3. Keep an eye on the doubles, and if I can get, $50 out of any of my choices, I might fire a double to the 3.
Yeah, I completely agree with you in that 3 in the next leg. My only concern with that 3 is that horse is getting flattered by the speed fig on the last time out over a sloppy track where the horse definitely freaked. So um, I do agree with you. I think there's a lot of value there if the kind of name connections that Wesley Ward 6 horse takes a lot of money. Yeah, there's definitely some spot playing ability with that 3. I just wonder if that horse is really being flattered by that last race.
I see a
And I'll be
really
the
huge
first to
problem
admit,
with this 3. I see a
I
really
toss
big
Mountaineer
problem.
speed figs as a rule of thumb. They always come back. I don't know about buyers, I guess, but Brisnet figs, they always come back like 10 to 12 points higher than they really should. So I don't know if the variance just messed up, but I always toss Mountaineer speed figs or knock them down by 10 points.
It seems like Mountaineer is one of those tracks that horses either love it or hate it. And I think you see a lot of horses on the buyer speed figs where they just happen to be a horse that loves Mountaineer, and they run huge figs there in comparison to other tracks. So yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the offset's wrong or if it's just certain horses really like that place.
Well, you got to remember too that the 3's got a couple things going against it. One, it's got the huge jockey downgrade from the greatest jockey in all North America, Luis Quinones.
Luis Q.
Yep. And then number 2, I feel like I've been fooled by this horse before with the name Improbable. So
I don't even read names. I didn't realize.
Yep, Improbable.
I don't read names either.
I'm really hoping that we get a little Improbable flashback there. Yeah, I mean, looking at this next race, I have a hard time looking past the 6 here, which means that the 6 has got absolutely no shot in winning. Yeah, I guess like just like Caleb said, that 91 on the Briz figure that they have from Probable Story is just no way. It maybe wasn't 80, but even so, that if we knock off 11 points off that last fig, still the fastest. The 7 Toma Todo is actually a saying from a game that you play. It's almost like a Mexican dreidel. So you spin it, and it tells you Toma Todo, which means you take all the coins in the middle. Some of them tell you to put stuff in there. So that they must think that horse is going to be a winner and that they're gonna take all the purse money. But yeah, I mean, we already saw Martin Garcia might have figured out the track, so the connections make sense there for the 7. But probably prefer the 6 a little bit just because if I'm gonna go between Ward and Maker in a sprint, I'll always pick the Ward horse.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning that Anna's Fast, the 4 horse in that race, was also Wesley Ward horse that was very highly regarded. Blasted a field in her maiden. Actually sent her over to Ascot to run. She didn't really run all that well, but most horses that ship over don't. Wesley Ward only sends his best over there. You saw Kamari ended up running second in that race to Raffle Prize, who's a outstanding turf sprinter over there in Europe. So this 4 is clearly highly regarded, and for this horse to be entered and scratched for the other Wesley Ward run, I'm not going to try to pretend like I know what his game plan was there, but as a rule of thumb, if I see a trainer enter 2 and then scratch 1, especially a high-profile horse like Anna's Fast, it does make me take a second look at a horse like the 6 and maybe upgrade them just a touch.
Yeah, I had the same quandary in that race. I had thought about just sort of single Aing through the 6, use as a free square effectively. But it becomes that thing of that horse is going to take a lot of money just on the connections and all the sort of angles. I mean, the 6 is also a horse that has been shipped overseas. And you're not shipping a horse to Ascot for the fun of it. You're shipping that horse to, because I think that was 6 to, sorry, ran at Newbury, my bad, not Ascot. But even then, you're not shipping that horse to overseas to run a stakes race just for the fun of it. So you would assume that the horse is a little more legit. So I thought you could have gotten cute and singled to the 6 in the next leg, but yeah, fun trying to beat horses that are probably going to take more money than they should.
All right, they're walking to the gate now, so let's get this in. I run the 6 and 8, but I might have to abstain.
See, Caleb, what happened was with you and that exacta yesterday, they completely reworked the track to get rid of that outside bias.
I think they did. They don't want me to make
what
any more.
happened.
Yeah. See, yeah, I'm not getting the prices that I'm hoping to get in the doubles. The only one that's really paying decently looks like it's going to be 5-3 and 6-3, which are really not. That would be like a double B play for me essentially.
I tried to get a win bet in on the 8, but I got locked out. So we'll see. Dude, that 1. Look at this rail horse.
Yeah. I mean, the way I thought it was 4-1 is the price play on the 8 here. I agree with bet. I think this 8 is the best horse, speed wise, if he takes to the surface. The 4 is the other horse I would have used if the 8 doesn't take to the surface.
Oh my god, it's going to be so funny. These 3 burn each other up.
If the 4 wins from here, he must be much the best because I'll be pretty surprised.
Dude, your 2
on the rail. Screaming, it's going to melt.
This 2 is actually getting a perfect trip.
Yep, here it comes.
6 looks empty. 5 looks empty.
Here comes a 2, 3 wide.
Wow, this 4 is just much the best, it looks like.
This 4 looks to be, much the best unless he gets tired here.
Yeah, 4-1-2.
And I save money.
I'll tell you what, that 1 rallying is.
Yeah, 1 ran a good race. Wow.
I mean, the 1 was on the lead early there from the rail, and then looks like, faded, swung wide, re-rallied. That might be a horse you want to add back to a stable.
So are you still live here, Beck?
Yeah, that was an A.
Yeah, Mark had an A, so he's live for his so far as big ticket.
Dude, I want to see like negative money payouts. You're gonna have to walk. Oh, did that 8 like completely miss the break, or is that just like?
Yes, the 8 looked like it popped straight in the air out the
Yeah, it looked like his back legs hit the ground. I couldn't tell. It's kind of hard with how dark it is. Didn't look like a great
it's
start though.
really hard to tell, and their lighting is not good in the start area. But it looked like the horse was just sort of coasted. So
The trifecta must have paid huge.
It's the same 3 numbers from last race.
Yeah, all same different order, but the one horse, it's tough to say because you might say, oh, the one's hitting the board again or running well, like maybe the rail's okay, but the one made the lead and then dropped way back and then really wasn't gaining until Crystal took her outside. So, is the rail better, or is it just the one got off the fence last 2 races and made up ground?
That's it. I'm gonna box the inside horses.
I think Papa just rolled over in his grave.
Damn, you saying Papo's dead?
Not yet. Old man just texted me and said, inside speed at Turfway. And I'm like,
things that are never said ever.
Yeah, things that were never said, right? But race.
What race 6? So Chase started I completely forgot about Chase's picks here. He had an exacta box, the 4 and the 6. So he lost that. And then he did start a 50-cent pick 3 here with the 4 and the 6. So he's got 3, 6, 8 and 5, 6, 12 in the next 2 legs.
Yeah, so neither there's no possible chance that both of us can hit that. So
yeah, well, now that you're locked in, I ended up on some of the same horses as Chase with the 5 and the 12 last race. To me, it looked like a race where a lot of horses might want to be near the front, and it could set up for someone from off the pace. So I kind of lean toward 5 and 12 in that regard in that last race.
Yeah, my issue with that would be we've seen a couple of races with like that last race, stupid pace on there. That was a crazy fast Turfway race, and the speedy leader held on, and it did not completely come apart. We've seen a couple of those earlier tonight where there was a lot of pace on, and it kind of screamed, "Oh, this is going to melt," and then it just sort of didn't. We haven't seen those in years past where Turfway races have really come apart. It seems like it's been a more speed favoring track the past couple of weeks. So I do like it. I think it's a very valid opinion. Good for you for taking a stand, and you're probably getting into some prices with those ones you're looking at. I would imagine mine are a little more chalky than that, but we'll see what shakes out.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like a 10-year-old trying to figure out how to spend the last $10 of his birthday money. All junk. I think I'm gonna have to try and double into this next race. See, we throw out that last race on the 3, then I don't want any part of that. Which then has me thinking that maybe the 9. What did you have here, Mark? You got the 9 here? What do you got?
3, 6 as A's, and then 7 and 9 as C's.
So yeah, 7 definitely is taking the early action. Judging from the doubles, I would expect to see probably 9 to 5 on the 7, 8 to 5 on the 6, something like that. And then this 3 might be more like 4 to 1 or something. So it'll be interesting as to how this all shakes out. I think the 3 is going to. The 7 might just be a monster because that was a loaded maiden race, but it's always tough to come back and face winners. It's tough to come off a layoff like that. 209-day layoff. I get that it's Mike Maker and Martin Garcia, side draw. I mean, it makes sense. If the 3 and the 6 hook up on the front, the 7 just should get an absolute garden trip right behind the duelers. But it's tough for me to take a horse like that at 6-5, just based on a lot of my own handicapping principles.
I'm thinking about just boxing the 1, 2, 3 at this point.
Apparently, you're supposed to box the 1, 2, 3 and the favorite. That's what seems to be working right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, the 7 to me just I don't know. I mean, I understand where you're coming from how the trip sort of sets up, Caleb, but isn't somebody like the 3 a better closer? Doesn't it have more come home speed, and therefore the 7's going to have to pass and might not have. I mean, I guess it's a horse that's got one race. You expect him to improve off that first race, and it may take a step forward. I don't know. I just didn't love the 7.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. It's another race where my strong I will have action in this. Use the fashion. How I haven't quite decided yet. To me, it almost looks like you could almost say you have to use the 3 or the 6, but unless you think they just merry-go-round the entire track, one of those two horses can't survive what appears to be an inevitable pace battle up front, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 3s. I think is the horse that is more on paper, on optics. The 3 is the horse that's more likely to survive said pace duel. I think is a horse that has that ability to show some speed and then be able to finish. I don't know if the 6 can. The 6 definitely has the early speed. Can a 6 finish? I'm not really sure. Hasn't shown it, but this is probably a lot easier company than the 6 is necessarily shown. And you're running that thing where you bunch of horses that don't actually have any synthetic experience. So you always have that thing of do they get across the surface? Do they handle it? Yeah, I don't. Man, this. It's one of those things. When I handicapped it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm super confident in this. And now I'm sitting here and Caleb's like talking to me, and I'm going, oh man, did I screw this up?
Well, hey, I mean, you were feeling. Ended up getting it done, so I'm sure you got this one down too.
Yeah, we'll see. I really wished, when I capped this card, the thing you're looking for at Turfway is those, 12 horse fields where you can kind of pick and choose some prices out of. And I wasn't finding those. I wasn't seeing that value there. These seem to be little races that just not as inspiring as the card you had a week ago, So it wasn't as much of a fun time.
Anonymous says that Ms. Anonymous nailed the 8 Super Valentine at 64-1 last time out at Churchill, and
very nice.
Apparently, he's married a red border.
I think she's like an exercise writer, or she works in the industry somehow.
Oh, really? What do you think, Josh? You haven't given your thoughts on this race yet.
I'm pretty much all in on this 6 here. So I think I am going to play something with the 6. I think I'm going to do something. Look, just from what I've seen the last couple races, I'm going to go ahead and assume that maybe the inside's a little bit better right now, which is against what normally the bias is here. So I think the 6 is the winner here. So I'm going to key the 6 on top with the 1, 2, and the 3 in exacta. I think I'm going to do a much bigger 6-3 exacta. And I'm also going to play a try 6 over 1, 2, 3. So when this comes like 7, 1, 2, I'll probably I will be done for the night, since that's the last of the bankroll here. But I think I looked at the payouts on the exactas, the 6 over 1, 2, and 3, and I think they're very square. So I'm gonna try and get the most I can get out of this. Actually, I think I'm gonna do 6 over 1, 2 for $2. 6 over 3 for, I think I can do like $3. and then 50 cent 6 over 1 2 3 over 1 2 3 try, and that should flatten my payouts pretty closely. 6-3 would probably pay a little bit less, but I'll get about $40 back and get to do this all over again and try and scratch my way back to even.
So Josh, you mentioned where the name on the 7 came from. You didn't mention where the name on the 6 came from, though.
Joker on Jack. Well, where I know
Yeah,
where
it's a
that's from.
line. It's a line out of a Kenny Wayne Shepherd song.
What? Who the hell is Kenny Wayne Shepherd?
Okay, Josh.
Legitimate question, man.
Time to
Kenny
Google.
Wayne Shepherd is.
The song is Blue on Black. Guarantee you've heard the song before, but
Boy, Cash in Discord is doing a back-to-back. Oh, never mind. He's just pointing out the fact it was a back-to-back one.
Is it back-to-back what?
We've had 1-2-4 trifectas come in some fashion last year.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I'm thinking that maybe that this insight might be good.
See, Anonymous knows. 3rd greatest guitarist ever. He knows what I'm talking about.
Who are the top 2? Now I'm curious.
I don't know. Jimmy normally gets number 1.
That's what I was going to think. Jimi Hendrix and
probably. I mean, it depends on what your take on the world is. I mean, Clapton is a pretty good argument. Considering Eric Clapton can pretty much play anything, a guitar, any style, pick it. He can sort of play it.
No arguments here.
I can't really argue anything here since I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about.
I mean, you can also make a pretty good argument for somebody like a BB King or hell, even like a Jeff Beck.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Jimmy Page, if you're a Zeppelin fan, which is always a good choice. It depends on your style of music you enjoy.
Or Jimmy Page if you're also a Puff Daddy fan. He did that the riff for that song from the 2000 classic Godzilla 2000. Come With Me, featuring Puff Daddy and Jimmy Page.
See, you know that, but you don't actually know. Josh, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, so I got my tickets in here, and I am down to 40 cents after these bets here. But I have $1 exacta 6 over 1 2. $2 exacta 6 over 3, and then an additional $1 exacta 6 over 1 2. So 6 over 3 for 3, and 6 over 1 2 for 2. 6 over 1 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 50 cents. We'll see if this inside bias holds, and the 7 gets the fuck out of this exacta and trifecta.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. The more I look at it, I think I'm gonna just go in opposite direction. I think of the 3 horses I like, the 3, the 6, and the 7. I think the 6 is the one I'm gonna try to get around. I feel like I think we're all on optics, like Mark said at this point. I mean, if you are an optics player, the 6 looks very beatable. Late pace, great turn time and respectable early speed, but that late pace is not really where it needs to be. So you just don't see many of those types hold on at Turfway, although you have lately. I'm going to go with the 3, and as much as it kills me, maybe even the 7. I'm a very big fan of, key race. I'll be the first to admit that, other than over betting a horse with a troubled trip, key race is probably my second biggest pitfall as a handicapper. And that race that the 7 won turned out to be just very strong. I mean, Peace Achieved is a hell of a horse. Elusive D'Oro came back strong. Billy Bats came out of that race and ran second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Stunning Munnings came back to win a couple of races. that was a loaded field. This might be a prep for something else, in which case the horse might not be fully cranked. But I'm going to use the 7 and the 3, which I think the 3 is the best of the speeds, and the 7 might be the best of the off the pace, closer types. And I'm going to use the 5 and the 12. I think that I'll flip over in the form real quick. This last race, is a race you can go a lot of different directions with. The 5, it's a Dale Romans who definitely has an edge over a lot of the other barns in this race. And, it's a horse that I think looks, competitive, on late pace velocity optics, was kind of stuck chasing a slow pace last time out. I don't know how well this horse will take to synthetic, but that's a question for a lot of these. And then the 12 is actually probably my top pick, and it's not often I'm going to top pick a 0 for 10 maiden who's 0 for 7 and never hit the board ever on synthetic. But is getting a little bit of class relief here, and I just think that those Woodbine races are tougher than these Turfway races. Albin Jimenez has been arguably the hottest jockey at Turfway the past 2 weeks, and I just think this horse might be a little better than the running line shows. There are other horses. I think this 4 is going to get bet quite a bit. I'm not surprised if the 4 wins off the drop, but it's also just there's a lot of ways you can go in that last race. Too spready. So I'm probably going to play a 3-7 with 5-12 double.
Yeah, and my logic in going into that last race is I was looking for horses I kind of trusted that had some late closing pace and ones that didn't have so much dirtied up form. And I think some of the ones that Caleb mentioned, not to bash his picks or anything, but were horses that I felt like I'd seen enough of that. I didn't feel like they were. I felt like there were horses where you're trying to find that. Okay, what needs to happen for them to improve? And I just wasn't seeing how anything had really changed. But I think that last race is one that you could go a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of different logical horses that you could get around that you could play into. I think if any race, I kind of expected that last maiden race to blow up, and I think one of these will. So maybe it's that 8th race that blows up and you get a big price out of.
Who were your A's again in that last race, Mark?
4 and the 14.
Okay. The 4 I think does make sense. 14. Yeah, I don't mind the 14 either. The 3 is another horse that I looked at and kind of had marked as like a B.
Yeah, 3 was a B for me. Yeah.
But there's no standouts, so when you get to these just complete shitters, sometimes it's best just to take a horse that might be somewhat near the front and just drip.
Yeah.
And just hope the rest of it works itself out.
The 4 is taking an absolutely epic class drop, and either there's something wrong, or they're trying to dump the horse, or it was a Cassie trained horse. He's going off to a nobody. Well, I shouldn't say nobody trainer, but a relatively unknown trainer. But has some speed fakes, quote unquote back class that that kind of are impressive in this field. I think the best fig in the field is in that 4, that in the 8th race, and the 14 was kind of a horse that made a lot of sense on optics. His horse was some closing speed, a little more forwardly placed, and I ended up on that horse also because of this sort of outside bias that we've been seeing going through. And obviously we haven't seen much of it tonight, but it was a horse I went, geez, a horse that fits on optics but is really outsidely drawn. Let me toss them in as well.
That makes sense.
But yeah, honestly, you can make a pretty good case that the last 4 races out of the 14 have been just absolutely atrocious, and the horse doesn't really probably fit if you look at those last 4. But this is not the strongest group, and you're seeing a lot of horses dropping here, and a lot of horses that need the class relief, and there's nobody that if the 4 fires, yeah, it's probably the horse to beat just on the class drop alone. But there's nobody in here that you go, oh wow, there's a horse that just has had some bad breaks or hasn't really shown up. This is a pretty I don't want to say cheap race, but not a race with a lot of quality.
Yeah, it's not a race that I think you go in there any horse. So it's a tough race to really feel great about any of the picks there. I looked at the optics plot. They have this race marked as a highly contentious race for the early pace with a 50 out of 100 speed rating, which is a moderate to moderately fast pace. There's a couple squares in Q1, really strong bets. The 1 is arguably he's more on favorite, first time favorite, depending on how much money the 4 takes. But I tried to just get out of the smattering of horses that are on top of each other on that, Q1 pace thing, which led me to the 5 and the 12. But I probably would agree with you that, if I wasn't kind of taking that approach to this race, I'd probably be all over 4, maybe the 3, and then, arguably the, 10 and 14 have a say in this as well.
Yeah, so you're really thinking this falls apart because both the horses you ended up on are horses that probably need some pace help up front, need this to really come apart at the seams, and really get that really it really needs to kind of melt. And that's kind of your logic?
It's kind of the thought process. I mean, I think that while there aren't necessarily what I would say a ton of need the lead types, a horse like the 4, for example, I guess he passed a couple horses in his debut, but really has been a horse that runs, as fast as he can, as far as he can, and then sort of fades. Same thing with the 3 horse, who does seem to be more of a need the lead type. I mean, the 1 horse is another one who I think is going to show speed. So I don't think any of these horses are really that fast. I just think that they all kind of want to be forwardly placed, and it could result in a pretty contentious pace that sets up for somebody like the 5 or, the 8 or the 12. But I know Josh is typically the Briz pace player, so I'm curious if he's playing anything other than his verticals here, or did you look at the next race?
I have not looked at the next race because I have $0. I have 40 cents left, so I might have to take a.
It's a 10-cent super.
10-cent super, yeah. Actually, I'm spending my time right now because Rusty Shackelford, who I believe is anonymous, YouTube chat, says that he listened to that goddamn song on repeat during a 4th grade field trip on my Sony Discman. So he's probably talking about whatever song you were talking about back. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh, it's Kenny Shepherd, man. Blue and Black. Dude, five finger Death Punch just covered it, so we can have good clamps. We can reference.
I don't know who that is either.
Okay. What do you listen to?
Haven't we had this discussion? Like, dude, I still listen to like emo music from the 2000s. So.
Or jazz.
Or jazz, yeah. I've actually been listening to a lot of jazz lately. Actually, now that you bring it up.
No, I respect your jazz. That's good. I get it.
But I'm trying to look for this Baby Yoda meme I saw earlier to post here. So I've been scrolling through Facebook.
The Baby Yoda memes are just so good.
There was just one with Baby Yoda with like a Sony Discman, like a hat and a T-shirt on. It was like me getting ready for my or me trying to look cool in the 5th grade or something. So I'm trying to find that.
So apparently, Rusty Shackelford is all about your Godzilla soundtrack thing, Josh.
Oh, he's talking the Godzilla soundtrack. Oh shit, yeah, dude, that's little. I believe the song was called "Come With Me," Puff Daddy.
I just lost a token of respect for both of you.
It was like number 1 on TRL for a real long time, all right. Remember that when that was like a thing, when people like actually watched fucking MTV to watch music videos?
I do reminisce about the old days, but there's certain things I'm glad died.
Hey, our boy Cash hit the early pick 5 at Turfway. Looks like he hit it 1.5 times. How does that happen? Oh, he get the 4 out of 5 payouts first, didn't he? Let's not forget they pay for.
Yeah, see, dude. Yeah. Rusty talking about Tell All Your Friends is a gem by Taking Back Sunday. I actually saw Taking Back Sunday for the 10-year anniversary of that show. And then I realized quickly that I believe the 15-year anniversary of the album is coming up. Oh, shit. I think it came out in like 2004 or 2005. So. Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude, they're from New Jersey. I would have figured that they were all big out by you.
I'm really not that close to New Jersey.
You're closer to New Jersey than I am.
That's not saying a lot. Still a 4-hour drive.
Taking Back Sunday is actually the band I've seen live the most. I think I've seen them like 8 or 9 times. The next closest would be like Alkaline Trio, who I've seen like 3.
God, I'm going to show my age and my taste in music, but I think I've seen Korn live more times than anybody else.
That's a name I've heard.
Korn. Jeez. Oh, they're loading in the gate. Let me go over the desktop here.
Joker
9 Inch
on
Nails is
Jack.
right up there as well.
Looking
If
at
that's
a
any more
declaration
respect.
of war going
Oh,
in.
brand Sporting Chances with the brand new.
Critics locked
Oh,
up.
goodness.
Up comes City Front and Tomatodo.
What's funny about some of those bands, dude, is like there's like certain songs that like I can still associate with like certain like
locked up Super
periods of
Valentine.
time, like doing like certain things. Like we used to
Will be the next
when I was in
Chestnut
high
Son of
school.
Super
Oh, no, I was in
99.
college. I used to drive to the city and hang out
John's
with
Rock
this
for Phil Simms and
this
Joe
group of
Rocco
friends.
Jr. to the outside.
And I used to listen to the second brand new album all the time
That's
driving
Post.
up there. So I always think of the city.
And
that
they
song, that
are
album.
racing. Quick start for Joker on Jack, and
So
Improbable
this
Story is
three
being
would be
asked to
pretty
quicken
good for you.
early. Tomatodo away
Well,
racing in third.
7 to 1's
John Rock to the outside
square
for
price
City
on that
Front.
3 if you liked
Advancing
him,
to
but
the
he's
inside
asked
from
make
fifth.
that
Up
lead.
comes a critic, and Super
he's not.
Valentine is at the
and
back
he
of the
still
pack.
can't.
Covered by about 7 lengths top to bottom. They continue to race up the backstretch.
22
They
and 1
pass the
is
half-mile pole.
pretty fast.
Improbable
Turfway
Story
Park
comes
can
on
pick
through
up
to
a little on the slow
confront
side.
Joker on Jack. They took him through a quarter, 22
Plus,
and
he's
1.
hemmed in on the
Tomatodo
rail.
in a
I'd
good
be
striking
amazed if
position
3
from
hits
third.
the board
City
at this
Front to
point.
the inside fourth.
Yeah, looks like
John's
he's already
Rock loops
clipped a
up
bit.
3 wide while fifth, 4 lengths for the back critic.
7's already
And
asked,
Super
and 6 looks
Valentine
like he's
is
going to
at
win
the
by
back of the pack.
stretch.
And
Kid's
there
looking over his
goes
shoulder.
Joker on Jack, dispatching of Improbable Story. Whip comes out on Tomatodo. John's Rock is right there as well. Meanwhile, City Front was just put in a tight spot as they run to the top of the stretch.
Well, I
And
need this
Joker
too to get
on
up, but I don't
Jack
think it's
off
going
the
to.
turn, driving by 3. John's Rock has raced up into second. Tomatodo back into third. Inside the final Florence Furlong. Joker on Jock still holding sway. John's
Six is
Rock
getting
and Joe
short.
Rocco trying to get to him. They have
he's home.
about 50 yards to
Yeah,
go. And Joker
Well,
on
so
Jack.
I was right about the 6
He's
winning.
back.
I was
Joker
just
on
wrong
Jack
about
back
all
up in
the
the winner's
underneath
circle
ones.
wins front running style by
Yeah,
2.
I was wrong on the
John's
6.
Rock was second. Tomatodo was
One of those
third,
times I
and
didn't
111
bet
and
aggressively.
4.
It's just one of those times where optics doesn't agree with what the form kind of tells you. So it's you trust one or the other, or you bet lightly. So I kind of trusted the optics and bet lightly, and kind of didn't shake out that way. But it's fine. I know Mark's alive in a pretty nice pick 3 with some good coverage.
It's paying out
Deep, and
$2.
it's not gonna pay much.
But I got 40 cents to construct some fucking superfectas here.
Did Chase have anything there, Josh?
It's funny. I said I was gonna get my phone, and I just keep on looking at my watch. Let's see.
Reminds me of the first week where you guys didn't mention my daily doubles until after the first leg had already hit. So
That doesn't sound right.
Well, Chase is live to the 5, the 6, and the 12 for 50 cents.
yeah, I'm $2.50 to the 4 and the 14, and $1.50 to the 3.
And he had the 6 to win, place, and show for $2.
He really didn't want to go broke tonight, did he?
No, and it's really funny because it's like this is like nothing how he normally plays. So he was really just like concerned about not going broke. However, it looks like unless I hit a miracle here with the superfecta, that I will be making the first contribution to the bonus pool here. So
God, this
congrats
race
to
is
me.
just fuck this race. This race is so bad.
Yeah, this race is terrible.
Like it makes you want to use the 1, but the 1 over 14 maiden that has the rail. So it's like
I said the same thing. I really want to use the 1. I just can't go there.
Ugh.
I mean, the horse is getting a massive class drop coming out of the maiden 12-5, drop on the maiden 5. High connections or high percentage connections all the way around. McKee's been great for Mercat. It's just, or Sir Murat, and the horse makes a ton of sense, but I just can't go there with an over 14 maiden. Now, if it was an over 26 maiden, I'd be all about it. But or was it over 43? What the hell was that, Josh?
Which one?
The one that you're like, I really like this horse. I really like this
Was
horse.
that the Ben Hernandez horse in at Saratoga, or was that which one?
It's a horse that was like 0 for a million maiden that you were maybe it's Ben Hernandez.
Into the winner's circle.
Yeah,
Your
dude.
unofficial
The
winner
thing
of
is that when
race
you
7,
hit
number
0
6,
for like
Joker
20 plus
on
maidens,
Jack.
like at least like
Churchill's
twice a
Nobel son
month,
by
you start to
declaration of
lose
war.
count. I still remember.
Orphan mare
I still remember
named
the best
Adventure
hit
Love.
I had on one of
Winner's
those
home by
stupid
Dave Reed's
horses
Ice
was
Wine
a
Stable. Trained by
at Mountaineer.
Wesley Ward
I think I hit a
and Gerardo
74 to
Corrales.
1 horse
Up top, Joker on Jack.
at Mountaineer. Of
Now,
course, I only had it for
the
$2,
two-time winner.
but it was one of those
186
things where like the
furlongs.
horse was like 0 for
He gaped the wire
16,
111.
and
And
they had kept on
4.
running it on the turf. I think it was, and they finally decided to try it on dirt for the first time. And the dirt Tomlinsons
Race
on the
7
horse
official, 462,
were
82,
like
40 on the winner, exactly
like respectable,
$18.
like not a
Race
horse that
second
like
of
belongs at
32,
Mountaineer.
20.
Like they were like
The double, $17,
380
super
or
effective,
385, which is like really high for
$335
dirt Tomlinsons because
The winning pick
you usually
3,
don't get above like 370 very often.
$24.
And the horse just fucking blew
15
past everybody
cents.
down the stretch, and the fucking guy was just
Eighth and final,
incredulous.
up
He's like,
next.
"That's 74 to 1."
To carry over in the high
And
5.
I just remember
Nearly
Clamps being like,
$1,200.
"What the fuck just happened?" Did anybody else follow? Because of course, I posted in the Discord before. I'm like, "Oh, I like this horse,"
A couple of scratches in
and
the
it's like, did anybody
coming
bet it?
8th race.
Sure enough, nobody else in the fucking Discord bet it. It was like the first time I'd ever like posted like some weird long shot. And no one followed. And I'm like,
Scratch
"Oh,
number 11.
well, there's $150
US
we ain't getting back."
Millennium.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say that you kind of bring up a good point. If you're this kind of person that's looking at maidens who are chronic maidens, they've been running for a long period
Also
of time.
the 8th race.
You're seeing drops in
Scratch
class.
number
They're just not showing
13 at
improvement.
Loom.
You want to see a change.
There's a
So
jockey
you're looking
change on the
for:
6th
are they
El
trying a new jockey? Are they
Commendatore,
trying adding
Nick
blinkers,
Loretta,
removing
Virginia
blinkers,
Torme,
faces for the first time,
And be
gelding
aware
the
that the
horse,
14 Southern
or
Humor will
trying a
race.
different surface.
22
Those are kind of
minutes,
times
super
when
high
you
5
want-
carryover,
maybe
almost
that comes
$1,200.
interesting. They're trying something. They're trying to find out what's wrong. But if you keep betting the same thing, it's the whole definition of insanity thing.
Yeah, there isn't a single horse that excites me in this next race. It's the last race of the night, so like the degenerate part of me wants to throw an action bet in, but I'm even having a hard time finding an action bet that I like.
Come on, do it. You want some action bets.
I mean, I'll figure something out. Don't worry.
Yeah. These pick 3s are actually solid.
What do you? What's your range? What's your life to?
The 4 would pay back, I don't know, about $100. The 14 would pay 300, and the 3 would pay 200-ish range.
You have, yeah, that's not bad at all, huh? Wait, you have the.
Considering this was pretty easy, actually.
Yeah, it really wasn't that tough. I mean, if you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm 414 for $2.50. The 3 for $1.50.
I'm just saying, if this
You got the
6
14
wins,
for $2.50. You're live to like 500, aren't you?
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it's about 500. Yeah.
Yeah, so that 14 would be a good day for you.
Sorry, I had. I was thinking I was looking at $2 well pays. I apologize. I'm used to looking at $2 well pays, and Twin Spires does $1 ones.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Mine does 50 cents. So
It's a thing. Like if the base bet's 50, $2 is kind of old school. 1 is just like we feel like being different.
Yeah. Can we just make it formal that every will pay and probable bet denomination just for clarity?
Dude,
on base bet, yeah, it should be base bet.
Can someone explain to me the pick 6 will pays here?
Somebody play their phone number.
I only see 4 payouts.
Yeah. So the pick six is not a popular bet at Turfway. I think it had like $3,000 bet in the pool last night. So it's probably just a couple people probably have the 1 and the 4 covered, and then you know maybe 1 or 2 tickets. Probably 1 ticket on the 3 would be my guess, and then maybe a couple tickets on the 8.
And the rest is all carrying over.
Yeah, I just not a doesn't get a lot of action. So
It's a jackpot, though, right?
But here's the thing: what happens when? Because normally it would still pay 5 of 6. It's not even paying 5 of 6 on the rest of
I don't think they pay 5 of 6 on the jackpot.
Yeah, jackpots don't
Do
pay.
they carry over
5
the
or 6.
entire thing?
Yeah, I mean they'll carry over at least the whatever the jackpot percentage is, like 20%. But if nobody hits it at all, the whole thing carries.
Yeah, so with a jackpot, if somebody hits it, it pays out the entirety. It pays out the jackpot plus whatever was wagered into it that day. 100, well, minus rake, so whatever the percentage is. If somebody hits it or has it for, or if multiple people have the 6 of 6, it only pays out the amount bet in on the day. So I bet you multiple people are live to the 4 here, which is why it's only $416, or well, probably the 8 as well. But yeah, and so there is, but then there's no 5 of 6 payout. So the reason is there's nobody alive to the 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12 for 6 of 6. People are probably only alive to those to 5 of 6, which wouldn't pay out. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if it did.
So I'm just confused because so that means that it's going to carry over, but it's going to be added to the actual payout next time, minus what actually gets added to the jackpot pool, right?
Yeah, so say $1,000 in new money was bet in today, and they have a 25% takeout. I don't know if that's the case. That would mean that 700, if nobody hits it, $750 would be carried out over to the jackpot pool. Assuming multiple people have it, of that $750 remaining, it's split amongst however many people had the correct number or had the correct sequence. Got that? But the thing is, there's no 5 of 6 payout. So the reason you're seeing a bunch of horses with just nothing on them is because they don't pay out five. They don't pay out 5 of 6. So there's probably a lot of people alive to those other ones 5 of 6 that just don't pay it out.
So I just want to. I just saw something that I feel like I need to announce here. Apparently, on America's Best Racing's Fan Choice Awards, best food is given to Hattie's Chicken at Saratoga.
Because
Thoughts, Mark?
obviously, dude, put it this way: I walked out with one of those sandwiches and showed it to Josh, and his eyes got so big, I thought he was gonna have a heart attack.
I was like,
it was
excuse me,
awesome.
gentlemen, I will be back. I just went up and got a sandwich. It was the only thing I ate. Dude, it was good enough that I was like, I think I'm just gonna get that again. Like my last day I was there.
And it's not that expensive. Like it's
like
like
$9.
a pound of sandwich, and it's like $9. It's like I mean, for the amount of food you're getting and the quality you're getting, it's phenomenal, totally worth it. And it's also sort of a staple that restaurant's been in Saratoga for a million years, and it's the original recipe, and it's good stuff.
Yeah, I want to say the sandwich is like $9 or $10, but it's like, I mean, the thing is like hefty. Like, I mean, it's probably about the size of like a small hat. Things pretty ginormous.
Yeah, it's quite hefty.
It sat well with me a little bit better than that fucking mac and cheese. That mac and cheese, dude, like sat like a freaking like it turned into concrete into my stomach. I swear to God, dude. I was just like, dude, it's like 85 degrees out here, and I just ate a like freaking pile of buffalo chicken mac and cheese. Like I was like hating myself for doing that. I was like, oh, I gotta keep drinking beer.
Yeah, the mac and cheese can be hit or miss. They used to have some flavors that were good, but I got it this year and I was like, well, it didn't taste like it was as good as it was in previous years. So you know, but yeah, no, Hattie's been a staple over there forever, and they have their own restaurant downtown. And well, it's interesting. You go to the restaurant, it's like a complete hole in the wall, and there's a bunch of famous celebrities. Like I'm trying to remember who it was. I think Bob Dylan used to go there when he used to tour around and play in Saratoga back in the late '60s. I actually think Hattie's has a picture on the wall of Bob Dylan playing a guitar in the restaurant, and this is like a restaurant that seats like 20 people. Like it's a hole in the wall, and him like playing a guitar at like 2 in the morning in the restaurant. When you come out this summer, Josh, because you're blowing us off in Vegas, I'll have to take you.
Oh, so I haven't. Yeah, why are those payouts say scratched? Um, yeah. So a couple of guys had from the Discord qualified for any. So I had this brilliant idea. I was like, Mark, I was like, just fucking go to Vegas. And Mark's like, I was told I didn't take enough PTO last year. We're fucking going. So so we start looking, we probably spent a solid 3 or 4 days like
Good 3 or 4 days.
going back and forth on what hotel should we stay at, what should we do, like when should we fly in, like blah, all this stuff. So finally I'm like, all right, I'm booking. So I book my flight, book hotel. I booked out at Mandalay Bay. I was like, fuck it, it's cheap. I had a comp. Um, I think my total was like $120 for 3 nights. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll like, it was my 3 nights was like half the price of one night at the Cosmo. So I was like, fuck it, I'll stay here. I'll just Uber up to Bally's and wherever you guys are, and we'll go hang out. And literally the next day after I book, I'm putting all my gigs in my phone calendar and stuff because they sent me the calendar, and I'm just like, look, oh, like the fucking band I play in, our biggest gig like ever is that Saturday. And like I'd already like committed like months ago to do it. I'm like, you
Oh,
gotta be fucking kidding me. So I'm like, well, I gotta fucking cancel everything now because if I don't cancel it right away, then I'm not gonna be able to get a refund. So I canceled everything. And I'm just like, dude, I can't fucking believe that. Like, it'd be one thing if like it was before we booked or like we came up with this idea and like I realized like, oh shit, like actually I can't do this because this already happened once. This is the second time this has happened because the first time this happened was Rebel Day. Pack and I were like, dude, we should go on for Rebel Day. We'll go hang out with Chase. We'll fucking just like go chill. Chase is all in. Pack's over there. He books it, and then I'm like, fuck, I got a gig that weekend that I already done. So so now I think my next horse racing related trip's probably going to be Derby week.
going to the Derby?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I have a friend who lives in Louisville, and so she pretty much said I could stay by her place with her and her husband, and that on Derby Day they throw a party. So I was thinking about going, staying with her, and just buying tickets for probably Thurby and Oaks Day, and then not going for the Derby and just partying with them at their place. Uh,
Okay.
so we'll see. That was the plan. I got to see how work shakes out since we just have a ton of shit going on at work, and I don't really have much help right now. So trying to just figure that stuff out, but I'd even put in for the time off and everything, and I was like all set to go, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta everything.
That sucks.
But I
Yeah.
think Clamps is going out there, so you guys will have a blast. You'll be out there with 643 qualified Brian Duransky, aka Mr. Middle Move, aka Highs the Moon, aka Mr. Bat Class.
He's got enough aliases.
And then Murphy. Um, Murphy's got 2 seats, so he'll be up there. So Murphy hasn't really spoken much in the past couple weeks to us about NHC, so he's probably going to be all business. But it sounds like at least 643 Brian are going to be a little bit more relaxed. So you guys have a good time.
Yeah, I know 643 was trying to get a second qualifier. So he'd have a second play. He was talking with me about that a little bit. So he was looking for there's still a couple of play-ins where you can qualify. So I think he's hoping he'll come in with 2 tickets and be able to have a little more leverage, have a little more bullets to fire. But we'll see. It should be a good
And
weekend.
double the Coors Light.
Dude, so many Coors Lights.
So many Coors.
So here's the funny thing about Tommy, about Tom. He so apparently he says that Coors Light is like not his favorite beer or anything like that. But both Mark and I, both of us, have seen him just slam Coors Lights at the track. So I don't know, like, I mean, at least I know at Saratoga they have a decent selection of beer. It's not like going to a craft beer bar or anything, but I mean, they have a Druthers there, right? And they're a fairly
Well, I mean, and quite honestly, Saratoga has a legitimate craft beer section. You can go and order craft beers. They have like a craft beer tent. And we're in a freaking box. Like 5 of us are sitting in a box, and the attendant comes by and he orders a freaking bucket of Coors Light. And I was like, dude, like, really? Really? Like, if that's your thing, okay, man.
Yeah, I was just laughing. And then like when we were at he came up for Million Day, and he walks up to me. With him and his sister were there, and he's got a Coors Light. We're walking. He slams the thing down in the paddock. We walk. He grabs another beer. He asks me. He buys me something. I think I just ended up getting a Coors Light too with him. We drink that. I probably drank that one Coors Light. And Mark, you've seen me. Like, it's not like I sit there and like nurse a beer. Like, I mean, I think I drink them at a decent pace. He literally drank 3 Coors Lights in the time it took me to drink that one. Because I was drinking that one. We go outside. He buys another one for himself. My brother comes up. Oh, I gotta mute this. My brother comes up. And my brother's like, "Oh, does your buddy want a beer?" I'm just like, "Yeah, what do you want?" My brother buys him a Coors Light. I finish my beer. I buy him a Coors Light. I mean, dude, like, first of all, he got like 3 free beers off of us too. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, I want to say like he was there for like 2 hours, and he probably had like 7 Coors Lights.
It's life's too short to drink shit beer, but man, that's a lot of that's a lot of bad beer.
We love you, Tom.
Yeah. So
the funny thing about the Vegas trip though was I had this internal conflict with myself because I'm actually going New Year's Day. I'm flying out to Vegas New Year's Day, and NHC is like February 6th. So like I was like talking to myself, I'm like, dude, I'm like, really? You're gonna go to Vegas a month after you? Is this really a smart thing? And then my wife, we were talking about possibly going for our 5-year anniversary in either like April or May. So I'm like, so I'm going to go in January. I'm going to go in February, and then I'm going to go like in April. I'm like, is this really a smart idea? And finally, like after that internal conflict, I talked myself into it, got in the PTO, booked everything, and then realized, oh, can't go that way.
Do you know how disappointed I am at your lack of degenning?
I absolutely do, but you're gonna have a blast in that Lambo or whatever you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Vegas and do the least Vegas things ever. So.
What you doing in Vegas? You renting fast cars?
Yeah, there's a Las Vegas Motor Speedway has a thing where you can take like track days, but you get to choose a bunch of different cars to do it in, and they have like 50 supercars, and you pick one and take like 5 hot laps in it, and go pick another one. So I'm gonna do that for a day, which I think will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'd be a good time. Apparently, Josh said your driving has given him PTSD.
He's and the funny thing is, I'm driving with Josh. Josh is sitting in the passenger seat of my car and grabbing the oh shit handle and freaking out as we're going around a corner. And Clamps is sitting in the back of the car with his arms crossed, just like, this is just normal. So
Yeah, dude, I'm
you
like
know,
this, dude. I'm like sinking into my chair because the fucking like the G's, like the
The
G-force
G-forces.
from the turn. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And like Clamp somehow, dude, he's just like standing straight up, just like this. I'm like, dude, how are you not sinking in the chair as I'm like this? And he's just like laughing in the back. I'm like, oh, this must be a New York thing or something.
Oh shit.
Oh. Anything going on in Discord there, guys?
Papa just popped in. He said he doesn't think there is much of an outside bias in the races anymore. He thinks that it's more about having early speed. And then for the routes that you still want to maybe prefer the outside a little bit, but inside speed's been doing okay today. Anything on a route where a horse is more than 5 lengths away seems to have no chance for the win spot, according to Papo. So
yeah.
I think that checks out with what we've seen. I mean, I trust Paul, more than pretty much anybody when it comes to, reading a bias on this track or in general, really. So I think that I think he's right on. I mean, you don't want horses that are, so it may make me want to reconsider my 5-12 picks here because those are both horses that are more than likely going to be coming from off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with it, what he's saying. I think that makes sense with what we've been seeing. I think it's interesting. Turfway tends to be not good on the inside, and I think it's much better tonight than I think I've ever seen it on the inside, which does scare me with this one quite a bit, who is the current favorite. But yeah, I would say speed has been very good, and we've not seen that sort of outside closery bias that tends to be prevalent here.
I'm trying to look.
I will say that if the odds hold at all, I'll probably have this 12 as a win bet at anything above 8-1. That's probably the price I'd want for that horse. Anything else? I mean, this is not a race I'm normally going to bet. I have no strong opinion in this race, and if I'm literally doing this to make a living, I don't bet this race. But since I'm not, there's a chance since I'm not, there's a chance I'm betting this 12 to win, and might even play back like a 4 over. I don't know. I want to find a way to work this 10 in to hit the board. I don't think the 10's gonna win, but I think this 10 might hit the board at a pretty big price. So maybe like a 4 over, 8, 10, 12 exacta, something like that. 5, 8, 10. I haven't quite figured out my sequencer structure yet. Like I said, there's a lot of horses that could win this, but
I'll tell you what, the horse in here that I want at the current prices is this 3. Horse is drifted quite a bit from the morning line, and I think you're seeing 13-1 right now. Twin Sparrows has their profit line at 13-1. It's about the odds that you want to get on that horse. I think there's definitely some value there. If you're making me make a spot play, that would be where I would land for a spot play here.
So how do you think the track played yesterday? Do you think the outside bias was still there? Or do you think it was
I do.
pretty fair?
Yeah, I think that race that Caleb hit the exacta on, there's definitely an outside bias on that. And you saw a lot more horses yesterday kind of swing wide off the corner and then rally through the stretch out wide. You haven't seen that. You've seen a lot of horses more rallying inside, which is this is the first time I've seen it in the Turfway meet this year. So I think it seems, I don't know if it's a rail bias or obviously you're talking 8 races or 7 races so far, so a little hard to get a handle on it, but it seems like the bias that was prevalent last night is much different tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know it looks like they're going towards the gate. I know one of the big things is they like to think that Mike Maloney thinks that the temperature has a lot to do with how the bias plays. I think I'm gonna take just a complete stab here with like a 1-4, 1-4, and then like fucking no, like a 6. I don't know, 1-4, 1-4, maybe 12, 12-7, 12-6. I got to toss something in with my last 40 cents.
There you go.
Yeah,
I got the 12 to win, and I'm throwing in just a cheap $1 4 over 10, 12, 14.
Yeah, and just last minute, I threw a $5 win show on the 3 at those odds.
All right, 1 4 1 4 5 12 5 12 for my last 40 cents.
Concord for the Spicer Boys coming up. Oh, Benny into line. El Commendatore.
I might have to pick up a bottle of this for you, Caleb. This
Locked up.
the liquor store by me did a Benice did a pick, like
11 to 1.
Like a store pick?
A store pick of the Buffalo Trace.
Race
It's actually
on
really
Cairo
good.
Prince has loaded.
Really?
Southern Humor
it's
for Ricky
$25.
Dunn to the
They had a bunch
outside.
of it. So if
Is it like noticeably different from the just standard?
a little bit.
He's in.
but
They're
it's
at
just,
the
I don't
post.
know. I just really like Buffalo Trace, and I think it's
Yeah,
unfortunately good.
it's great value. It's the best like $25 bottle of bourbon you can buy.
All set.
All right, we're off.
And they
One did not break.
are
That
off.
might be the end of his
Quick
run.
start for a Fleet Moment off the shelf. Also, Triple Cognac
I just need him
being
in
squeezed
second.
up for some speed. Peppers
I mean,
Concord
4
was
could
put
be
in
awful
tight.
tough as long as he
Meanwhile,
keeps him.
Quadrant is away next,
Yeah,
trying
the
to cross and
14
clear there
setting the,
as Thermal
20
Shock
wide
was in
path
tight
trip
in
here.
the opening stages
Yeah.
of the race. So a Fleet
What
Moment
was the
shows
call
the way
last
up on
night?
the
He's
outside.
covering more
Southern
ground
Humor
than
off
Christopher
the high
Cole.
draw. Moves closer. Second, Triple Cognac away.
That's what the call was last night on a
Quadrant
big
is
one.
fourth to the outside of Slick
So
as
I'm
a
like,
pin,
you know
then a
what?
margin of 5.
I respect
Back
that.
Toronto, who settles long in
That's a
6th.
good
Fayetteville
call.
right alongside 7th.
What
Thermal
price did
Shock
I end up
climbing
getting
as
on
they
my
hit up the
12?
backstretch,
I got
racing in
$5 on
8th.
the
Peppers
12.
Concord advancing to the outside in
I
9th.
got 16
Then
to
a
1
margin
on
of 2.
the 3,
Oh,
so
Benny
I'll take
is
that.
10th. El Commendatore
Yeah, that's a
is
great
next,
price
and
on
a
the
long way
3.
last. Playful Snoopy on debut.
3 is a
Plus
horse
to be
that if he runs back
35
to
lengths
those
out of it as
summer
they head up the
numbers,
backside.
is right in this.
They're
but
just
those last
outside the
couple
half
figs
mile
weren't
pole. They
so
took the first quarter
competitive.
24-1.
Yeah.
And the
Papa
final
said if you're not
final
within
up on
5
the board
lengths of the
in
lead,
48
the second call, you got
flat.
no shot.
A
So it
Fleet
looks like it's
Moment
got
on
to
the
be
class drop shows the
4,
way.
8, 12,
Up on the
14.
Dude,
outside,
4
there's
just
two
looks like he's
Triple Cognac
cruising
into
right
second.
now.
Southern Humor starts to retreat from
Yeah,
third.
4 looks awful
Cauldron is
good.
being
Kid's already
squeezed
asking
on.
the
The whip
12
comes
pretty
out on that
hard.
one, moves a closer
Asking the
third.
8 quite a
Following
bit. This
that move
4
right
looks
on his
like
back. Slick
one
as
still
a
got some
Pin is
horse
next, and
though.
Slick as a Pin
But
splitting
I
horses
think this 4
and
is going to
coming
be tough to
gamely at the
catch.
leaders. And following that move, Toronto, the son of Gio Ponte, Blue
Oh
Silks,
shit, you
Red
got
Cap's
stuck
going to go
inside.
to the
Maybe
5
not.
path as they run to the top of the stretch. 3/4, 114 and 2.
The
And a
fuck's
Fleet
that
Moment
too?
will turn them on down.
Oh
A
my
Fleet
god, he went
Moment
to the
confronted
rail.
by
You got to go
Slick
wide
as
on
a
that.
Pin, who's put to the test to the outside with just outside of furlong to go.
Somehow
It's
the
Slick
one
as a
ends up in
Pin
the 4
racing a
path
bit
and is going
greenly,
to.
but has the lead. Toronto races up to the outside with momentum. It's Slick as a
Oh,
Pin.
there goes the
Toronto
one.
trying to launch past. Slick
He's
as a
going to
Pin
hang. He
hanging
hung
down
like
deep.
a
Toronto
pig.
trying to get past
Chandelier.
Slick as a Pin hanging
Oh,
on.
there's your Turfway
Slick
price,
as a
60 to
Pin.
1.
Well ridden by
Was he
Prescott.
really?
Went to
Jesus.
Toronto was next. Then came a
60.
Fleet
Well, I
Moment.
don't
And
pick
they
6
got tight
carries
for
again.
fourth,
Who the
either
fuck was
Fayetteville
the
or
2?
Albany in 141
Oh my god,
and
don't even
4.
look at that horse on optics.
Dude, that's the first thing I pulled up is optics. I'm like, do I even want to look at this?
You know, that's a race you just draw a line through, honestly, but I don't know. I mean, it's a productive dam. Like, I'm not saying I'd ever have this horse, but you know, I'm looking at this horse and I'm trying to find could get to him, you know.
I mean,
Second time out, horses get better. You know, it's a bullet train out of Sadler's Wells on top, which, you know, is pretty good pedigree. Adding blinkers, I mean, debut is basically treat him like a first time starter at this point. So he took some money in that debut a little bit, dead on the board, but that's a hard horse to come up with.
Number 2, Slick as a Pin.
Well, I think we're how you
odds
come up
of
with that horse.
60 to
This is
1.
a really terrible race.
Number 1,
Yeah.
Toronto
There's
was
nobody
second.
here,
A Fleet
and you go,
Moment, number
okay.
4 was
You're
third.
talking terrible
Tate
races.
for fourth.
Things like
Photo
that.
Yeah.
for fourth.
I mean, truth be told, in
Slick
hindsight,
as a Pin.
the
Bombs
horses
away
eased
60
last
to
time
1
out, dude.
on the
If
class
they got
drive
vanned
for the
off,
Plains and Jimmy Corrigan.
maybe it would have been an easy bet back if it was
141
vanned off.
if it was vanned off, I
but-
would have had him. That's a difference. But I mean, that's the kind of horse that you look back and you see, you know, in the pick 4, you know, okay, you had a Martin Garcia on a, you know, 5-2 horse or whatever he was, 3-1, 2-1. Then you had the 4 horse who went gate to wire, looked pretty obvious and paid $5. And then you had the Wesley Ward horse who paid, you know, 6-5. So that's the race. You mash the all button.
Gentlemen, did you look at the did you look at this trifecta?
What came in? I was
Ladies
not
and
paying
gentlemen,
attention.
2, 1,
hold
4.
all tickets. Inquiry into the running of the
Probably
8th
won't pay
race.
that
A
much with the
steward's
two favorites
inquiry.
underneath.
I'm just saying
and
2,
also a
1, 4.
jockey's
Once
objection.
again,
Oh my
that's
God,
the third.
1, 2, 4. Shit, you're right.
And then the super high five was the 1, 2, 3, 4,
Steward's
5
inquiry,
horses.
jockey's objection concerns your top 2.
Yeah,
Hold
so your
all
father
tickets.
was right, Caleb.
Result of the photos.
Yeah, he
report
said
was number
inside
5,
speed is
O'Benny,
what.
finishing 5th, number 3,
I'll be
Fayetteville.
damned.
21453.
Dude, we gotta get your dad on the show instead. Jesus Christ.
Once again,
Foul
Steward's
past the
inquiry,
mantle. It's fine.
jockey's objection concerns the top 2.
It did
for
look like the 2
possible
came out a
interference
bit.
in
So we'll
the
see
Oh,
what
we have an
happens.
inspiry
Stand by.
objection. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the 2 was going.
This might come down.
Prescott
It
was
looked a
going
little interesting
left-handed.
stretch.
Prescott was going left-handed and the horse kept on drifting out. He looked like he was trying to herd the 1.
I mean, what goes against the 2 is that he's 61 and the favorite, but that 1 was never going by. I don't care what you look at.
1 was never going by, but that probably comes down. There's a
Yeah.
couple of steps in there. This is a
Oh, that's a good bump. This 2 probably does come down. I just saw that.
But these are Kentucky Stewards, so who
Jesus
knows?
Christ.
Yeah, it doesn't help the kids going left hand too.
No. So how long does Luis Saez get suspended for now?
I think he's done for another 2 weeks here. So is that light that they see? Is that the finish line?
Oh, the light you're seeing on the rail, that's
Yeah.
the finish camera light. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the trip light. They illuminate it so they can catch, noses and that kind of thing. Or if you're at Saratoga, they don't do it and then it F's everyone over.
Yep. I mean, honestly, dude, like one all of a sudden just stopped, and I think it might have been. It's hard to tell with that pan shot. It didn't look like the horse came out that long.
The one had its front end taken out. That's why the horse stopped. We were looking at from a pan and thinking that the horse just hung. The horse got slammed.
I don't think anyone had the 2 or the 1 right hang out here.
I thought we all had the exact amount.
The 1, 2. What is that?
No, we held a try because the 1, 2, 4, but hit
1, 2, 4.
Yeah,
for $3, I should have thrown it in.
If you box the 1, 2, you might get knocked down to $218 and $480.
I think if you played 1, 2, 4 all day in our entire stream today, you'd won the contest by now.
And then, what did I fucking try and do? Of course, I try to box the first 4 horses, and it's like the one fucking race that the inside horses did not fire.
So Caleb, what's your balance at?
I'm at 153.4.
Yeah, I'm at 91 at the moment. So you're beating me.
Mark's going backwards.
Ladies and
Josh, what
gentlemen,
do you
there
got
has
again?
been a disqualification
I am at zeros.
for interference through the
I
stretch.
knew.
And coming out impeding.
What about
for the Bourbon Fund?
That's right. We needed our first donation. What about our boy Chase?
First and place second.
I think he's all right. I want to say he's probably around like $70 or $80.
Oh, is he up? Good for him.
Number
Oh,
one,
they
Toronto,
just put the 1 up.
the
I think
two
so.
Pin
So
has
I'm gonna
been
try and
DQ'd from first place second. New
I will
numbers,
get
1,
the info
2,
from him.
4, 5, 3. 1, 2,
Quick
4,
production
5,
meeting during the
3.
stream. What's everyone's next week looking like? Are we no
In
go
the
next
winner's
week?
circle now, number 1, Toronto.
Do we know
Um,
what days Turfway's
Got us
running
by Gio
on?
Ponte.
Obviously, Christmas
Out of
falls
the
on a
perfect
Wednesday.
soul
and
mare
the
named
following
of
weekend.
I think they're doing
Hard.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Winner is
so-
co-owned by Maria So
I could do
Partnership
Friday or
with
Saturday.
Louisiana
I cannot do
Carabalut.
Thursday
winning trainer
or
Marat
Wednesday if
Sankau,
they run on
and
Christmas.
the
I
winning
don't know.
jockey John McKee.
I'm probably a
Number
pretty
1,
open in the
Toronto
evening,
on the
so,
class drop.
work around
Breaks
you
maiden.
guys.
All right,
in
we'll
start
aim
number
for Friday or
15,
Saturday then. Next
and
week.
was bred in Kentucky
I'll have
by
a concrete
Kidder
date in
Cole.
probably tomorrow afternoon. I'll tweet it out. They did end up bringing the 1 down in case you guys were curious. But yeah, it looks like
They brought the 2 down and
or brought the 2 down. They brought the 1 up. Yeah. So I will. We'll have results probably posted sometime tomorrow. I'll get on the type up a quick quick blog post there, and then I'll also post it the Midwest channel. We'll aim probably for Friday or Saturday next week. And I think that for that first week in December, I'm out of town. So if you guys want to still do it, you're more than welcome to.
First week in January?
Yeah. So I'm in Vegas that week.
You can't just do it from the Mandalay Bay?
I mean, I could. I'll just I'll go fly with my my camera and just do it from the hotel room. But yeah. So we'll put results up. It sounds like Caleb is our new clubhouse leader. Mark, I wish you would have fizzled a little bit more. But, Mark's still right around double his bankroll. I think he's around $90. I am the first casualty. I have $0. I will be rebuying next week, tossing money in the Bourbon fund, and trying this like all over again. And then Chase, our boy Chase, not being here, playing it safe, collected a little bit more bankroll. I want to say he's got to be up like $20 or $30, I think. He's probably sitting between like 70 and so yeah, it's still anybody's game. I mean, like I said, hey, I'm just a couple trifectas away from taking this whole thing. Got you guys right where I want you. But for our boy Wolf of Oak Lawn, who's not with us, Chase, for Mark and Caleb, I'm Josh, and we'll see you guys later.